Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength. And in pursuing these America First national security goals will remain patriotically apolitical and stridently constitutional. Unlike the current administration, politics should play no part in military matters. We are not Republicans. We are not Democrats. We are American warriors. Our standards will be high and they will be equal, not equitable. That's a very different word. We need to make sure every warrior is fully qualified on their assigned weapon system, every pilot's fully qualified and current on the aircraft they are flying, and every general or flag officer is selected for leadership or promotion purely based on performance, readiness, and merit.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. What do you call a paternity suit in Indiana? Who's your daddy? Guess what? We now have a daddy for president. And it ain't just real children. None of his real children. The head of NATO, who just raised NATO contributions from 2 to 5%, calls Trump daddy. It looks like the whole Mideast, enemy or friends, hating or loving him, have certain feelings about this. Trump showed his strength as a dad for our country, Democrats, Republicans, poor and rich. And that includes having dislike and mistakes through his life. After all, daddies are known to fail sometimes. The real advantage Trump has is his ability, honed through his life, to never give up and never let up. Many don't understand that a liability, sometimes you just have to look at things that are unique and helps you and others available to your suggestions. I tried to be unique one time, but somebody beat me to it, and that was Trump. And just to go a little further, my Daddy's Day gift, which was way before the war with Iran, was a shirt with a picture of Trump and a golf bag, quoting him as saying, "Who's your caddy?"
I'm all for it. Let's arrest them all and send them to Guantanamo. I hear they're
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that despite all this stuff, the American people have spoken. We're tired of this crap. We don't believe you anymore. You're lying bastards. And you guys ruined the economy for us. We got wars all over the place. Okay, we're on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to almost July. Wow, it's the 27th, and it's hotter than hell out there. Tell you what, if you guys go out and play golf, or gals go out there and play golf, watch it, because I've been stopped at the nine hole level several times. I just felt like it was too hot to play. And welcome to my lovely bride here, Lisa Weinbaum. You're all dressed up. You look very nice, honey.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. I made it on time.
Good. Good, great. Yes.
What's that mean?
I don't. It means something's there.
Huh?
That you're here. Here you go. Okay.
There's not anything on my nose.
Not anymore. And we have JP Maxwell sitting down the other side. I'm trying to help.
Good morning, everybody.
I'm trying to help and be nice. And, you know, I don't get any gratitude at all. And we've got Rick out there in Never Land, Salem, Missouri, who doesn't believe a thing I say. And I know I don't believe many things he says either, but we have amazing conversations nonetheless. Also, we got Bob Willis sitting here and not here, but he's in Rolla, and his book is out. Do we have a little something we can put up for his book somewhere? There it is. Yeah, The Last Buffalo in Kansas, and he's got all sorts of kids' book out. They're all looking at art stuff, pictures that he's taken around the world in his various flights to Mongolia and Russia, Hawaii, and all the places that you wouldn't think you'd find a trout fisherman. Anyways, we've got a great show today. We got J.J. Maxwell at 8:10. We got Rabbi Moshe. I don't know if he's still a war rabbi. I think he still is, but I think it's almost over. There's a ceasefire now between Israel and Iran. It's, you know, we had a 6-day war. Now we got a 12-day war, and you have to question, well, what the hell happened? How come you didn't finish them off quicker? Well, Iran is pretty far away from Israel, by the way, and it's huge. It's a huge country. It's you could put 75 Israels in Iran, and you'd still have a lot of room. Isn't that incredible? All right. So we've got a lot to talk about here. No less, no little. And we have Chris Adamo coming on at 9:30. He's always real good. Between him and JJ Maxwell, you're not going to believe, or JJ Bradshaw, we're on Twitter and we're on YouTube and these guys and TikTok and we are all over those things. JJ in particular has a lot, like 28,000 in one little picture. And I got to give credit to my son, Aaron Weinbaum, who started me off with this and is putting all these things into X, into Facebook, into YouTube and TikTok. And it's just incredible how much action we're getting out of those clips. And I got to thank my friends from X, because they're always so great at pushing my show around. And always always recognize me and thanking me for putting their names and their nicknames, so to speak, on X, so they can be recognized too. And I always try to come up with something that says follow this patriot, and that's the theme that I use. Okay, well, there's some things happening before J.J. Bradshaw comes in. Is he coming in live, do you think?
I wouldn't think so.
Oh, okay. Anyways, AOC and 120 Democrats plus Schumer want to impeach. They want to impeach Donald Trump. I mean, it's incredible. They say, well, he broke the Constitution. He didn't break the Constitution. There's a specific article who JJ is going to talk about here in a couple seconds, because there comes his pretty little face straight on the studio here. And this guy is all over the place, like I say. And the young people like him. All right. I think I'm older than him, but you know what? makes this look good? I don't know if I make it look so good. Anyhow, this man has been he's been with me since almost day one, and I'm turning this upside down. Officially, he is the Justice Report guy, and he knows everything you want to know about the Constitution. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Jay, is there anything in the news at all?
Oh my God, Dave. You and I are both drowning in this stuff. It's coming faster than I can read it, and I speed read for
You
Pete's
got
sake.
that. Yeah.
Let me start with something that's just a bit of an aside, and then we'll get to the meat of this stuff. James Carville, one of my favorite crazy people in the Democrat Party. James is nuts, but he's a pretty smart guy. And he suggested Wednesday on a podcast that Donald Trump bombed Iran to get the big, beautiful bill passed. That this was a diversion to take Senate scrutiny off the big, beautiful bill. Well, James, I like listening to you because you're an insane person, but you blew it. No way.
How do you like him? Because he's insane, and he is insane, by the way.
Yes,
he's clever, but he's not smart.
He is a smart guy, but he's nuttier than a fruitcake, and he's getting worse by the day. But yeah, that's James' contribution to my input for this show. That the bombing of Iran was a diversion. Okay, James, go back and get back in your basement. Let's talk about Iran for a minute. You know, this has been the headline, and there's so many facets to this thing. For those of you who live in Duke, Missouri, and probably haven't been watching the news, 7 B-2 bombers left Whiteman Air Force Base, dropped 14 bunker buster bombs. That's the GBU-57 bomb, 30,000 pounds, with almost 6,000 pounds of high explosive in it. This baby makes a big, big bang. And flew over, 37-hour round-trip flight, nonstop, and bombed the hell out of Iran's nuclear facilities. This by itself would be a coup. If you look at what the Israelis did, first off with the pagers and the cell phones, and next with sneaking in cargo containers or wooden structures that had drones built in the ceiling of them under the
whole base in Iran.
How about that? And then comes Trump and bombs the hell out of them.
Oh.
Now, our Congress, there's very little.
And there's the most important part of that is nobody from the United States died. Nobody was hurt.
Fixing to get to that.
Okay, sorry.
You're stealing my thunder, Dave.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just jealous.
Our Congress, Trump briefed some of the congressional leadership as this was happening. He didn't do it before because Congress leaks like a frickin' sieve. So he gives this to some of the congressional big shots. Hakeem Jeffries wasn't available, and he started squawking about he wasn't notified. But yeah, he was just after the fact because nobody could find him. He was probably sitting in the basement with Joe Biden commiserating on the demise of the Democrat Party. But okay, Congress leaked this thing, and they leaked stuff that was rather highly classified, probably top secret, probably compartmentalized stuff. So our FBI doing what they're supposed to do, as they didn't do under the Biden regime. They're looking for the guy that leaked it.
Yeah.
And they're going to make an example out of him. Good. Okay, back to the bombs that got dropped. If you look at the satellite footage of this thing, you don't see a hell of a lot of damage. You know, you would expect a crater the size of the craters on the moons for that much explosives. These bombs are some special stuff, Dave.
And why is that?
They don't make a big old crater. They are hardened in the front. They are computer guided. Each one is individually programmed, and they are made so that they penetrate an awful lot of rock before they go boom. How do you get real deep with these things? You follow one after another, same trajectory. Boom. Wait a few seconds for the smoke to clear. Boom. Wait a few seconds, and every time you're going deeper. So the Iranians thought, well, we'll put a few hundred feet of rock over the top of our centrifuges and they'll be good. No.
Yeah, they're putting concrete. They're in the process of putting concrete. Didn't do
They
them any
were
good.
closing up the ventilation holes
Yeah.
in an attempt for us to not shoot stuff right down through them. Didn't work too well. But what was so intriguing to me about this is the intel that went into it. We have been watching this for 15 years. There's a couple of guys whose mandate in life is to follow Iran's nuclear program, and they have been looking at satellite images of this thing 15 freaking years.
Yeah.
And the Trump administration got a hold of them and said, we want to blow this stuff up. What's the best way to do it? And these guys said, baby, I got it for you.
Yeah.
Right down the ventilation shafts. Okay. Did they reach the actual centrifuges? Nobody knows. They're buried under 1 million tons of rock. Nobody will ever know. Yeah. But those centrifuges are very fragile items. They have to be in a seismic protected zone. They build them on bedrock so they don't shake. Let me tell you, those bunker buster bombs going off shook them. And I guarantee none of those centrifuges are capable of being used again. So the Defense Intelligence Agency, which I'm starting to believe might be a little politicized, leaked early on, well, maybe we set them back a few months. Then came the deluge from the Israelis, the United Nations, even the Russians said, oh, no, we didn't set them back a few months. We beat them back to the Stone Age.
Well, even a representative of Iran said that they were pretty much devastated.
Yeah. The next leak. Our Congress, God, I hate our Congress. They're such idiots. The next leak was, oh, by the way, the Iranians took all of the already purified nuclear material and they took it someplace else. Let me tell you, Dave, we're looking at this thing 24/7 on satellites.
Sure.
If a few trucks leave, we know about it. If a convoy leaves, we know about it. And Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, both came back and said, we've been watching these guys for a long time. They didn't carry anything off. They thought it was safe under 700 feet of rock. Well, guys, you're wrong. So let's look at the diplomacy of this and the politics of this. Dave, this thing has got so many tendrils coming off of it. We had what some would claim a brief little war with Iran and kind of set Iran back. Donald Trump said, Ayatollah, we know where you're at. Sure. We can take you out anytime. We just choose not to. So maybe you ought to hide a little bit better. Has this changed their politics?
No.
Not superficially, but it is changing it in a deep sort of way. These guys are no longer safe in their own country. Right. The United States can come and take your sorry Muslim butt right out and send you to visit with Allah. Good. If I had that sort of fatwa happening to me, I'd be a little paranoid.
Well, yeah, they're a little paranoid, but the clerics in that particular part of the Shia Muslimhood, the Muslim brotherhoods, they're beyond that. They are a cult, and they seem to die off, and they keep going. And the children are taught that you want to be a martyr someday, and people are paid off. Their families are paid off to go kill themselves.
That is,
it's a real cult.
It is a problem, and it's going to be generations before that gets straightened out, even if we took care of it today. But the point is that crazy Islamist government they have, the caliphate that they would like to spread to the rest of the world, has got some holes in it. We're killing them economically. And it's fixing to get worse. If these clowns decide that they are actually going to close the Strait of Hormuz and choke back oil and natural gas shipments, guess whose oil and natural gas they're shutting off?
Ooh.
Their own.
Their own, yes.
What do you got, Dave?
Guess who fulfills it? Guess who fulfills all those oil needs? Drill, baby, drill. That's what Trump is saying right now. Drill, baby, drill.
Yes. See
Right
how
there
this
for
thing's
him.
got so many tendrils to it? This is an octopus of Middle Eastern politics. I think as the Iranians have gotten their butts kicked, I think the man on the street in Tehran is saying, why are we putting up with this stuff? We've got these lunatics running our country. The United States and the rest of the world, particularly European Union, are shutting us down. Economically, we're going to have a hell of a problem here. And maybe we ought to overthrow these folks. Now, Donald Trump has said, I do not want regime change. This is not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I don't want Iran to have a nuke. But regime change is likely to come as a result of this, don't you think? The Israelis would love to turn this upside down.
I don't think he really means that. I think he'd be very happy if there was regime change.
Sure.
Because, this is a aberration for Iran. They've always been a fairly peaceful country. They're Persians. They're not. They're not prevalently Muslim, and they don't like this any more than anyone else. In fact, they're fans of Israel. They're fans of Western living in the United States.
Prior to 1979, they were a reasonably stable country.
Let's talk a little bit about the coming Abraham Accords.
Oh, yes.
Based on this. This is where he is angled for everyone. And I talked about this. I said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have all sorts of these new Abraham Accord countries.
I think so.
Be all over the Middle East and Africa.
I think so.
Maybe a few in the from NATO too.
The fact is, the first Abraham Accords were an amazing success, and they surprised all the diplomats because nobody thought any Arab country would sign up with Israel. And why did that happen? Well, Donald Trump facilitated it, obviously, but these Arab folks have recognized that Iran is a pariah in the Middle East, that Iran is as much a threat to them as they are to Israel. There's nothing to stop these folks from attacking other Arab countries, and they know it. They know that the management of this country is a bunch of lunatics. So, yeah, there's a motivation, and I think that motivation is going to spread to many other Arab-based countries. Good. I'm a peacenik. Peace, brother, peace.
Yeah.
I'd like to have peace in the world. And this is a step towards that, and Donald J. Trump's the guy that made that happen. Any who would deny that don't have a clue of what's going on in this world. Can we get to the Bidens for a minute? The stain of Joe Biden just can't wash out of the fabric of our country. We're stuck with that, the results of that moron. Well, some interesting things are happening. James Comer, the House Oversight Committee, has subpoenaed Anthony Bernal, who was Jill Biden's chief of staff or chief advisor.
They call him her real husband.
Her working husband is what they've been calling it. Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who was the White House physician, Neera Tanden, Annie Thorns-Rins, I guess, Ashley Williams, a bunch of these folks are the inner circle around Joe Biden. And they have been requested to come and talk to the committee about who was running the show, who did the cover up. You can bet that the auto pen will arise within these conversations. Now, if we had a Democrat House of Representatives, like we did during the nasty Nancy Pelosi era, would any of this be happening?
Of course not.
Nope, they'd cover it up. They'd sweep it under the carpet. The Republicans are not going to allow that to happen. This is a whole different flavor of regime.
Hopefully they won't allow this to happen. You always have the rhinos. You got to get
Indeed.
rid of the rhinos, especially those that would be traitors to their own party.
That, as far as the vote goes, I agree with that. You and I have talked before. A lot of things never happen within the Congress, but when you lift the veil and you've got things like C-SPAN where you're televising the testimony of these people, that's available for anybody to see.
Right.
And by pulling back the curtain, like on The Wizard of Oz, you're showing these people to be what they actually are.
Yeah.
Public opinion is still very strong in this country. Whether the rhinos allow anything to happen as far as legally is concerned or prosecution-wise, who the hell knows?
Well, but it's
at least
important.
that
The legal
information
part is
gets
important, though. JJ, if you got people committing the kind of treason that we're talking about, especially people like Milley, General Milley, and turning it says, "Don't, whatever you do, let me talk to China first."
Yeah, I will be talking with China.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to do something with that. You can't let something like that go.
That's plain old treason, and we both agree with that.
Right.
The point is, these things grind along very slowly, and it'll be halfway through the administration before we see any kind of activity on this. But
I have an answer for that. Trump 28.
Well, our JD Vance, that's an up and comer. That's Trump number 2, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Those two are pretty much in lockstep, and when they disagree, they agree to disagree.
But he could be in his administration, and could be I mean, it could happen.
Oh,
look at Barack Obama. Look what he did. He's still. This is his third, almost fourth term. Okay.
How about JD Vance in 28 for president, Trump for vice president?
Fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine with me too.
Yeah.
We can speculate all we want about this, but it pleases me greatly that the Congress is actually looking into these things. You would never have seen that in a Pelosi Congress. It would have been covered up immediately. Now, will anything come of it? Hell, I don't know. I guess you and I are going to sit by and watch and wait to see what the results are.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Supreme Court for a minute? Because SCOTUS scored a few points this week. 6-3 decision, conservatives versus liberals, on a South Carolina law that banned Medicaid from paying Planned Parenthood. Why is this a big deal? Well, because under previous law, before this was passed, any Medicaid recipient could choose any provider that they wanted. And Planned Parenthood was one of those. They don't only provide abortions, they provide cancer screenings and some other things. Well, South Carolina said, no, we're not doing that. And Planned Parenthood sued, and they lost. Yeah. They lost. And this is going to be a loss for them in other states as well.
Just for the folks in Branson, what does Planned Parenthood represent?
Oh, it's the abortion mill of the United States, the biggest abortion provider. Right. And those of us who are pro-life, that believe that life begins at conception, are very much anti-Planned Parenthood. If I could push a button and obliterate them,
is coming down 6-3 on Planned Parenthood. Mm-hmm. They're not federalizing this anymore. They don't want to be sponsoring it anymore.
That's right. They're in the process of flushing
about time.
Planned Parenthood.
It's only like human life.
Well, if you remember, we had a nasty little constitutional amendment here in Missouri that we're trying very hard to get overthrown.
And Bill Hardwick, who is the main guy, the main thrust of getting rid of this, Amendment 3, I believe it is, he's going to be on the show here later today.
Yes, he is.
He's going to be on at 10:30.
And I will be listening.
Cool.
The point there is, in the end, if you wait long enough, right wins. You just got to wait a long time for that to happen.
I don't know that waiting has something to do. Waiting, being patient, yes, but you got to take some action. You
Of
have
course.
to work for it.
Of course.
God, I believe God wants us to, he wants to help, but you know what? He doesn't want to do it. He wants you to do it, and he'll help you along the way.
I'm not saying let's be passive like a bunch of sheep. Hell no. We've got to be activists. Hell, you and I are activists. We're squawking about this stuff every Friday for 3 hours.
Yeah, for how many years? Almost 17 years now. 17 years. Can you imagine?
I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So 17 years. I don't guess with you. The point is, though, these things grind along slowly. The legal system is not a rapid sort of thing.
Yeah, I was meant that.
So you have to have patience with that. But be an activist, you're darn right you need to be an activist. You can bet the other side has got their own share of lunatic activists. My God, look at the Congress. As a matter of fact, look at the New York City Democrat mayoral primary. Now, Andrew Cuomo was in this thing, and he was expected to win it, even though he has an awful lot of baggage.
Oh, God.
This other guy hit social media. He hit the podcasts. He hit the face-to-face stuff. This guy, Bernie Sanders says he's a Democrat socialist. This guy is a Marxist, socialist, crazy, Looney Tunes, far left Democrat. I couldn't believe some of his policies. Free buses throughout New York City. Free groceries. We're going to have state-run grocery stores because groceries are too high. A citywide rent freeze. And it just goes on and on and on, Dave.
Free buses.
And
everything.
People voted for that.
Yeah, so, people. You know what's going to happen if this guy actually makes it. And now they're starting to get a retort from Eric Adams.
Yes.
And I think Adams has a real shot at this guy because they're only in the prelims.
Yeah, this is early. This is the primaries. But the fact that this guy was polling at 1% 2 months ago, and now he wins the primary.
Yeah. Oh
my God. That shows you the power of social media. It also shows you how easily people in New York City are led. I read about this and it just appalled me. How could this possibly happen?
Well, I don't think too many Jews are out there voting for him. He hates Jews.
I'd love to know that.
Yeah,
I would love to know that. This guy's been in this country for 7 years, and now he's may end up being the mayor of New York. What you're
going to see is what you're seeing in a lot of blue cities, only particularly it's going to be accelerated because of the Jewish population in New York City.
I read this morning that this was a gift to the Republicans. Why is that? Well, when you got somebody that's that wacko running on the Democrat side, it makes the Republican side look pretty good. Yeah. Now, whether could a Republican win in New York City? Heck, who knows?
Well, you know what? They got Eric Adams almost rid of the Democrats. He's now calls himself an independent. He's about 30 seconds away from being a Republican.
Yeah. He's realized what a bunch of lunatics are that are running this.
Oh, yeah.
That starts at the DNC. I mean, they got a bunch of nut jobs running that, and it works right on down through the state and local politics. What do the Democrats have to run on? Orange Man Bad? You can only play that song so many times, and people say, I'm not listening to that anymore.
Well, every time they raise up impeachment or another charge or that, his poll numbers go up.
They keep going up. Yeah.
You want to keep doing it? Yeah, impeach him. Let's see how that works out for you again.
Yeah, impeach him another 100 times. He'll be over 100%. Then we'll have to start importing some Republican voters.
Yeah, send those judges out some more. The judges that want to tell them
SCOTUS is fixing after the summer recess is going to make some noise about the federal judges. We've got one that has gone directly against SCOTUS, and I think when they come back, they're going to shut that guy down.
Well, we'll see.
One more thing. This is my last shot. We're over time already, Dave.
That's all right. I always enjoy talking to you.
Boy, these conversations, they go all over the place. The Senate parliamentarian, who is an appointed position, who decides what is important and what is not rule-wise. This is somebody I'd never heard of until I researched it after I read it. And there was a thing called the Byrd Amendment, I think in 1985, the Byrd Rule, that when you're talking about budgetary things, reconciliation like this is, you are stuck with nothing but budgetary things. So anything that's not budgetary, you're going to have to pound into a shape that makes it look budgetary to get it through. This lady's kicked out a whole bunch of stuff in the big, beautiful bill. I think it was Thune said, yeah, we're going to keep her on. Somebody in the House said you ought to just boot her ass on out because she's on something less than
a the football coach that said that.
Was that right?
Tullis or whatever his name is.
So that's my parting shot anyway, that from within.
Well, I was listening to this on the way into the show, and they were talking about her as being like the moderator. You know, everything.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Whatever that is.
I don't know if that's good or bad. You know.
Well, I don't either. Like I said, I'd never heard of such a thing until this came up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think they're going to pass this thing. They can't not pass this thing, but it's going to be let's see what they put in it. You know.
Yeah, I think Thune is beating the drum pretty hard to pass this as is without a lot of amendments. But like any other thing in politics, you know, there's an awful lot of stuff going on in the back room that we never know about. What kind of deals get made? Heck, who knows? Sure. David, it's been my pleasure. I enjoy talking with you.
Pleasure is always mine, my friend. And say hello to your lovely wife.
I shall.
Let's hear it for John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Thank you, AJ. Have a great weekend. All right, we're back on the show. We don't quite have time enough to do a commercial, but we do have time to do something funny. How about Steve Short? Is it Steve? Not Short. It's Steve something else.
Steve
Martin.
Yeah, let me get the.
He's not Short. The guy that's with him is Short, but okay.
Yeah, let me get that here.
All right. Yeah, we're going to do that. And then coming up, we've got Rabbi Moshe from Israel, no less. And then we've got that anti-Marxist guy talking about Marxists in New York. He's going to have something to say about that. That would be Chris Adamo. There we go. What are you laughing at?
Evening, and he said, Steve, I'm so excited. I've just finished a new song, and I just have to tell somebody. And I said, oh, great. What's the title? And he said, 47 Ways to Leave Your Lover. And I said, Paul, what if it were 50? 50 ways to leave your lover. And there was a long pause. And he said, go on. And I said, well, 50 has a nice ring to it, and 47 sounds a little awkward. And he said, but, I've got 47. I can't think of any more. And I said, make a new plan, Stan. And he said, 48. I said, don't need to be coy, Roy. Drop off the key, Lee. He said, okay, 50, great. Hey, thanks. And I'm sorry if I interrupted anything. I said, don't worry, I was just here cooking a chicken. And he said, oh, really, how are you preparing it? And I said, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And now look it up.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Rabbi should be on any second. Call the show, 573-578-2700. Let me know what you guys think about, okay? Let me know if this kind of bothers you, this mayor who is outright Muslim, Jew-hating, he's okay with the river to the sea. Hey, the river to the sea. Well, so what? Yeah, it just means kill every Jew that's between the river and the sea, which means the elimination of Israel. It's very interesting. I don't know if you ever go to Reels in Facebook, and I shouldn't be doing ads for Facebook. For God knows they've screwed around with me long enough. But these Reels thing have come up with some really good biblical stuff and reasons why Islam is the way it is, and Judaism is the way it is, Christianity is the way it is. There's a lot of good information about the Bible actually on it, and I've been looking at that along with some of these cartoon characters on it. Lisa Ann shared a link on your time. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's there. It's right there. We can watch it while we're here. No, you can't, because we don't have it. But it's interesting in that area. And I know I probably a lot of you aren't out there doing what I do. But if you want to if you got a couple minutes and you're looking at other stuff on the internet or on your phone, you might want to take a look at it, because you'll learn a lot. My concept here is to keep learning until I die, and I'm getting old, and I know that. But I keep trying, and I'm having fun. I have a very young wife, as you can tell.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I know that would at least get me another day or two, maybe.
Oh gosh.
What do you think?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I'm not
That
sure.
wasn't even worth a day? Oh my gosh. She's got her. How long are you going to be eating that salad? My goodness. That was the biggest salad I've ever seen. And we're the third day on it, and it's still not done. But boom. Thanks. There you go.
Oh, you're so
There
right.
you go. What do you know about funny? No, we don't do that for her. She's not a bastard. I am.
You might get in trouble for that one.
Well, if it's referring to me, okay. I could be that. Guess what? The rabbi is late again?
Yeah. So I sent the link yesterday, and I
Yeah.
noticed that he hasn't been on Facebook for a while. So I'm hoping that maybe they're not
Uh-oh.
bunkered down again. Who knows? I mean,
Uh-oh.
I think there's a big ceasefire out. So
hoping so. I'm going to recheck again.
all right,
here
you
in a
know
minute, just
what?
make
You
sure.
know what? The way to get him on?
Call him.
No, do commercial.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
Let's do commercials. He comes on, and we're not there. Well, he knows he's not supposed to be late. Let's do commercials, and we'll be back hopefully with the rabbi.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Get your butt out there. Thank you. Bye. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri. We
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Mayoral's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate. At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a shock. We have the rabbi on. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. Did you lose your watch or something during the war?
No, we switched the clocks. We're 20 minutes behind you. So.
Oh, gosh, yes. I should have known that, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, you're full of it. Okay, wartime rabbi. Back to peacetime? Is this now peacetime? Is that what you did? You moved it back to peacetime?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
I'll try to call it that.
Did you fall asleep or something like that?
No, I'm leaving to America. I'm packing.
Well, excuse me. I did not mean to interrupt with your packing problems. You said it was okay to call you now.
I did.
Yes, you did. All right. So, anyways, the Iran, they're killing all the Mossad spies and Iran traitors. What do you think about that?
First of all, they're not killing Mossad spies. They look for Iranians who they consider to be collaborators which I would suspect.
Somebody mentioned the word Mossad, so I'm sorry if I.
Yeah. There would be Mossad collaborators. They're not killing. It's like Iranians that help. I would bet 9 out of the 10 people they kill have nothing to do with the Mossad.
Okay.
They're on these witch hunts to try to figure out how we were able to do what we did in this.
It's kind of expected that they would do that.
Yeah, well, when Israeli planes fly over and they know where everything is, and they bomb every critical site for 12 days without running out of targets, that only happens with good espionage. So they have to go on a witch hunt, and there's no way that they are uncovering all of the Israeli assets that are embedded in Iran.
But now you are in a ceasefire with Iran. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is it being held up?
So far, it is. The ceasefire, officially started Tuesday morning. I think at 7 a.m. And there were still a few more rockets after that.
Yeah.
But that's like par for the course. Every time we have a ceasefire, they have to sort of show that they're, it's like, it's like bravado, So after
the way they're talking right now, they kicked your ass.
Yeah, exactly.
We showed them Jews.
Yeah. So in the meantime,
it's not funny. People are dying, for goodness sakes. However, this is like what they do.
This is what they do. They did this in the Gulf War in '91. They do this all the time. They just, they were broadcasting that they had full control over the skies of Israel. They made these fake AI videos how there was under the hospital in Beersheba that there was an army base. It's like they just it's like, if it weren't deadly, it'd be even funnier. But
it was a 12-day war. Listen, the 12-day war that we had against the other people back in June of was it
the 6-Day War? The 6-Day War.
67? Yeah, it was 1967. 6-Day War. Yeah, I mean, that was a miracle. This is huge.
Look, we are a country of 7.5 million Jews, 10 million people, and we were fighting a country with 90 million people, 1,000 miles away. Whatever it is, exactly.
You don't have a shared border with them either.
No, their country is 70 times larger than ours, and we spanked them. It's like, and they have oil revenues, and they did nothing. They fired some rockets, and that's all they could do. Their Air Force did nothing. There was nothing they could do against our fighters, our pilots, and they. Believe me, if they thought they were winning, there's no way they would have agreed to a ceasefire.
So as I predicted, now there's going to be a big announcement from Jerusalem Post. I don't know what it is. Do you know yet, or is it already been said? Is that about the ceasefire or what?
Well, I mean, they're talking about Syria joining the Abraham Accords.
Oh, okay. I predicted that last week on the show. I said, what's going to happen here? It looks to me like at the end of this is going to be mind-boggling. It's going to change the whole world. Forget the Middle East for a moment. It's going to change the entire world. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, you're not wrong. What Netanyahu has been doing since October 7th has literally changed the face of the Middle East. And from Lebanon to Syria to Iran to Hezbollah, Hamas. I mean, it's really literally changing the face of the Middle East and changing the future of this region. I think it's Saudi Arabia, I think, is going to join also. But I think that's less of a surprise than Syria joining.
I think that might have been the cause of the war.
Yeah, it definitely was what motivated Hamas to try to prevent Saudi Arabia from joining.
You say Hamas like they did this on their own.
No, of course they're sponsored by Iran, And I can tell you that there are many Arab nations, from the 50 Arab nations, 53 Arab nations, were quietly cheering on Israel during this war.
Really?
Wanting us.
Okay, why quietly then?
Because these are not countries that have relationships with Israel. They're not countries part of the Abraham Accords, but they are countries that do feel threatened by Iran.
Sure.
And Israel is now the big boy on the block. We are the regional power. We knocked the bully off his hill, and now Israel.
It's interesting that you look at it this way, at a bully, as a bully.
Yeah, Iran's a bully, and the only thing they know is
for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, and they don't think, like bullies, they don't think anyone's going to confront them.
Exactly. And they don't know what to do. They absolutely don't know what to do when it happens.
Exactly. And so Israel, I think Iran was stunned, was shocked that we came at them. And the truth is, Israel is now the regional power in the Middle East. And I think when I said these nations were quietly supporting us, because they know if we are the regional power, everyone's safer here. They know Israel's not going to attack them.
Right.
Iran is a problem because Iran is trying to bring their Messiah by creating, this Armageddon scenario. And everyone knows, the Arab nations, that Iran is not good for the Middle East.
Yeah.
They're the biggest supporter of terror. And now with Israel knocking them off the block, of course, the nations that support us openly are happy about it. But Germany, and even in Europe, Germany, the Chancellor of Germany said that Israel's doing the work for the world. He's totally supporting Israel openly.
You got the head of NATO calling Donald Trump daddy. Oh,
who's your daddy?
Yeah, who's your daddy? That's what you call a paternity suit in Indiana. Who's your daddy? Yeah, you can use that one. Hey, come on! Where's my producer? Oh my God! I'll do a joke anytime. You gotta be ready.
Okay.
You gotta be ready. Well, I'll for some shekels, I'll send him down there and do your show. We'll make it even better.
Okay.
Okay. Other than in 2020, while Trump was still in office, when the UAE and Bahrain and Morocco and Sudan agreed to normalize relations with Israel, what country specifically, and I can think of a bunch of even African countries right now, Tunisia and places like that, Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Name some of the countries that might get involved with the accords.
Well, I mean, there's some smaller ones, like countries like Liberia, possibly.
Where is Liberia? Is that Africa?
It's on it's a west coast of Africa, southwest.
Yeah. Nigeria?
Possibly, Israel has relationship with quite a few African countries. These are Muslim countries. Yeah, well, obviously.
How about Egypt?
Egypt, we have a peace treaty with them already. We have a border with them, and Jordan, we have a peace treaty. So, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia would be. I think
Lebanon would be great if they could get themselves settled and get rid of the Hezbollah, who we just bombed again today.
You bombed them again?
Yeah, they were building some a base near Israel's northern border, so we bombed them. But Lebanon would be great, because then we would have on all our borders, if we had Lebanon and Syria, then Jordan, we already have a peace treaty, and Egypt, we have a treaty. So if we could surround ourselves with countries like that we have good relations with, or at the very least, have some kind of treaty or an agreement, that would be epic.
So now you're coming to America, and El Al is opened for business, inside and outside, and you're going to punish the countries that shut you down?
No, well, I mean, look, it's a little frustrating for Israelis when you have airlines canceling left and right, and then it takes them months to restart.
Yeah.
Like United, for example, already said, they're not flying here all of July. That's like ridiculous. The ceasefire ended and El Al starts the next day. We're back to school. There's
back to school. I heard are you going to have graduations and things?
Last night we had my son's 8th grade graduation, but my daughter, they already canceled it, and they're not going to do it. Her 12th grade.
Too bad. So what about your son in the Army? Is he still there?
He's here he got off now for a few days. He's home for Shabbat, and he's going back on Sunday. But he's thinking of switching into a drone unit. He wants to finish up. He has around 8 months left in his service.
Yeah,
he'd like to possibly switch to do something different. We'll see. We'll see what he does.
Maybe he'll run the show one of these days, huh? So Bibi Netanyahu suddenly became to me now. I know I'm not that smart, but it's amazing how quickly he figured out that we have to stop this after not doing it for so long, saying, finally realizing that we got to put a stop to this because we can't survive unless somebody else helps us, unless we do this right.
Right.
And they're doing it right, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Did you see also Trump's statement about the trials against Bibi here in Israel this week?
Oh, yeah. He told him to drop it. It's ridiculous. Exactly. It's lawfare. He doesn't know anything about that, does he? Yeah. What do you think? Is that
I think it's very similar.
What do they do? Give him a cigar or something?
Yeah, I'm saying I think what they both endure is very similar in that it's politically motivated. They can't win in the ballot box.
Right.
You got to try to find another way, to attack Bibi. And the only way to do that is to try to use the legal system.
Sure.
It's a typical playbook, of the lefties.
Yeah.
So
did they used to do that a lot in Israel, or is it recent?
No, it's very common here.
Yeah.
To use the Supreme Court and as a weapon against politicians they don't like.
Okay, so what do you see happening with your relationship with Iran? I mean, is there going to be a revolution? After all, they're all Persians, and they love Israel. They love people like you. I don't know why, but they do. They love people like you, and
right. They do. I'm not sure. I would have thought at the beginning, when this whole thing started, that the revolution was going to really take off, but it's been,
I remember that.
Look, let's just say it hasn't happened like the way we thought it was going to, but it doesn't mean it won't happen. But I thought they would take to the streets a lot faster.
Yeah, well, they're a little scared right now, I think. And,
I think they're scared of
they're scared of the bully, but I think the bully is getting to be ridiculously overwhelmed, but with their own power, which they don't have anymore. And I think now's the time to go. If I was a Persian, I'd be saying, "This is it. Let's go after it."
Now's the time. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably should have done it while the attacks were going on. To be honest, because then you have the attention of the army, and the Khamenei is not on the protesters; it's on Israel. But I think it'll be a little bit more difficult now. But
well, let's just put it this way: when they were revolting against the mullahs and the ayatollahs back in the last decade or two, Barack Obama was running America, and he was not on the side of the Persians. He was on the side of the Iranians.
there was an option during, I think it was during the Obama administration, that there was a popular uprising, and he didn't help them. He didn't support them.
They put it down, and the United States did not do anything. The mullahs put it down, and the United States didn't do a damn thing.
Nothing. There's 19,000 political prisoners, and
isn't it amazing that you actually pretty much did it on your own with an amazing final shots, so to speak, from Trump. You know, he's going to open a golf club in Iran, right? He's already got the first 3 holes. He's already got the first 3 holes.
That's right. What's?
Thank you.
You know what it's going to be called?
No.
Who's
your daddy? Who's your caddy?
Who's your cat? Yeah. I have to think of a good name for it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, other than, I know you're kind of rushing, you're packing and all this stuff. I know how you can get diverted with all this. But who's doing that? That's the rabbi. What are you doing? You're making noises.
My phone is dinging there. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll get out of your hair. Other than the Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and contribute and buy your book?
They can go, if they want to get the book, go to secretsofthehebrewbible.org. Get yourself a copy. We would love for you to buy a book. I think you'd really like it. Even if you don't speak Hebrew, you'll still love it. Or you can go to IsraelAlliance.org, Facebook.com/Israel Alliance.
Now, what extra reward is common for Moyles?
What extra word is common?
Reward. What extra reward is common for Moyles?
Tips.
Yeah, tips. But you know what? Now in Israel, it's going to be like the United States. It's going to be tax-free.
Okay. I was thinking, actually, maybe the Iranian golf course, we could call it the Ayatollah in one.
Oh, okay. There's going to be a lot of that stuff going around. I'll tell you what, the Ayatollah, they let the guy live. I mean, he's 86 years old.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. According to what I read. Yeah. All right, Rabbi.
Did you hear I heard the guy who came up with the idea of the wind chill factor. He passed away this week.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, he was 86, but he felt like he was 75 though.
Oh, okay. Shut up! I'm 76.
Yeah,
you can't do that yet. Quit.
Okay.
You're making fun of me. I'm an old man.
God forbid. God forbid. All right, guys.
Hi to the family. Shabbat shalom.
You got it. Take care.
That little warrior you got with you, okay?
Okay, I will.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. No, I think I handled that pretty good. All right. No, I'm I don't like to talk about myself. Well, maybe I do sometimes. But, the last time he was supposed to be on the show, and I'm wondering, because now that was a severe time during the war, and then when they were bombing everywhere, and I didn't know if and he was scheduled to be on and had agreed to be on, and I didn't know if something happened, like they got bombed and he was casualty, him and or his family. So I was really worried. So I tried to babble along, waiting for him to call. And finally, I wondered if I had his phone number in Israel, and I did. Now, this time when it happened, I had passed the time when it was likely that I should do a commercial. So I'm waiting for the rabbi, and it's 2.5 minutes already that he's not on. So I just said, hey, do the commercials. I'll call him, see if I can find him. And I did. People forget stuff. I just wouldn't I don't know if I pay a long distance for this or not.
I know apparently he's got busy packing and lost track of time.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. Yep.
I figured he was taking a nap or something, like old men do. So anyways, let's play a couple of clips from our upcoming guests at 10. I don't have any clips for Chris Adamo, but he's going to be interesting, especially talking about this New York mayor applicant. I say applicant because I don't know. I can't imagine them actually doing this after what they know about what the Biden administration was, after they've seen the communist countries all over the world are terrible. The states are terrible. The sanctuary states where they've got killer criminals and they're all trying to keep them alive and hidden. Even the judges are putting them in their homes and stuff like that. It's crazy. What do you have, a death wish? There's something wrong with people who do that, in my opinion. You got a different opinion? Give me a call. 573-578-2700. By the way, do we have any messages? I mean, it looks like we got a pretty good group. Roy Maddox, good morning. Hi, Roy. Guess we had your buddy up there. And let's see, Joseph Dalton. Good morning. Good morning, Joseph Dalton. He's a good friend. He is the head of the Rolla, what? Resource Center. Yeah. And Ann Maddox. Hello, JJ, a.k.a. Dad, with a little heart. I should have read that while he was here. I'm sure he would have loved that. And Christopher Rosani, as we know him. What happened to your picture, Godfather? Good morning to the Dave Weinbaum and the lovely Lisa Weinbaum. Hello to the crew. Hey, don't forget about it. All right. And a great patriot himself, Owen McNamee, who pushes all my stuff all the time and is getting quite a response now on X mainly. He's probably out somewhere else doing stuff. But thank you for all you've done for me. And that is it for now, right? Yep. Okay, well, let's see what else I want to talk about before we do stuff. Did I say to do something? Yeah, do a couple clips, and then I'll get back to you.
I was happy living in the private sector, but this was for me, Dr. Harper, an Isaiah moment. Here am I, Lord, send me. And so here I am, and I'm grateful to God for the privilege.
Our audience prays blessings for Israel, for you in your role, and for all that is going on. It's a very troubling time. I wanted to thank you for joining me and our Christian audience and Jewish audience, and these crucial issues that are impacting Israel and the surrounding Middle East. And let me start off with my first question, and I thank you for your time. In light of the Houthis and the Syrians still firing on Israel, firing missiles, how's President Trump assisting Israel on their 7-front war?
He's been the best friend Israel has ever had. There's never been an American president who has done more for the state of Israel and the Jewish people than President Trump. We go all the way back to his first term. He recognized Jerusalem as the eternal, indigenous, undivided capital of the Jewish state. That was huge. Moved the embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. That was historic. Recognized the Golan Heights. Determined that it was not violation of international law for Jewish people to live in Judea and Samaria. He has been the best friend Israel has ever had. And the people here know it. He is beloved in Israel, and rightfully so. In his second term, he's already spent more time with Prime Minister Netanyahu than any other foreign leader. I tell people the U.S. has friends, it has allies, but it really only has one partner, and that's Israel. We share not only high levels of intelligence and military capability, but what we also share is the common values of a Judeo-Christian underpinning that is the very essence of all of Western civilization. And that makes this relationship incredibly unique, incredibly important, and one that, quite frankly, I don't think we will ever see broken.
It is a very special relationship, a very special bond. And I know a lot has been new developments regarding Iran. My next question, with the latest what are the latest developments on talks with Iran? I know a lot of things have been happening here recently about that, especially with regards to stopping Iran's funding of terror proxy groups and preventing Iran from having a nuclear bomb.
The president has been so very clear that Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon. If they really want anything to happen, they need to stop enrichment. They need to get rid of enrichment. They're not going to be able to maintain their centrifuges and all of their paraphernalia that they claim is for peaceful purposes, but they've already enriched beyond what would be necessary for that. But look, I'm still hopeful. I'm still optimistic. The president has invested a lot in trying to negotiate them to a place where they realize that it's better for them to voluntarily give up nuclear aspirations. And let's hope that works. I know that the special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has more meetings scheduled this week. So, I pray for a diplomatic solution.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Mayoral's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Okay, we're back, and let's talk a little bit about the bombing of Iran's nukes. How did I get sideways on here? Did somebody move my chair?
I don't think so.
You moved my chair. I know you did. All right. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about that. The DOD Hegseth he's on fire. This guy, as is Trump and the rest, who are saying that these bombs didn't do any harm at all. We don't know anything. BS. We're calling you out. And Hegseth is righteously knows what happened because we just got the CIA confirmation of it, that it really destroyed all the uranium or just about any trace of uranium that you could have there. Even the representative from Iran is saying that. I don't know. Are there any left in Iran? Maybe the Ayatollah, but you didn't see them stop war for anything else because of that. Remember, this is a 12-day war now. It'll go down in history as another miracle for Israel, and it's done by God. And the whole thing has been right from when they figured out they had to stop the spiraling of this thing getting out of hand, where they'd 2005 the Hamas came in, and 2006, and then almost yearly afterwards they'd throw a couple of bombs at southern Israel, and Israel would retaliate, and then they'd have a ceasefire. This went on for 17 or 18 times. And pretty soon, they figured out how to make a real fortune out of this, because they were making a fortune every time it ended. The UN and the United States under Biden and Obama, they would send them all these billions of dollars to rebuild. Well, they weren't rebuilding anything. They were building tunnels. They were building schools above these tunnels. And in these tunnels, they would be either hiding or they would have offices for high elevated personnel and or soldiers and or Hamas leaders. And so if you got bombed, from that particular site, and Israel went and dropped a bomb on where the ammo was coming, they were liable to hit a school where there was kids or patients and things like this. So, are you talking to me?
I'm agreeing.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
I was agreeing with you.
Thank you. That's unusual. No, yeah, you agree with me, I know, for most of the stuff. But this is important stuff to remember. There's only one thing you can do when that happens. You can't not let them destroy you this way. Okay? And it's going to mean some casualty. Now, you could send them messages, as Israel does. They send them all sorts of warnings. You go somewhere, we're going to be bombing here today, and saved a lot of Gazans or Palestinians, whatever you want to call them, but Gazans. And at this point, I think the Gazans are actually thrilled that this might be over. And the interesting thing about this is that they still have hostages. What the hell do you need to understand that you're just going to get killed because they're looking for the leaders now, and they only have limited time to save themselves. Christopher Razzini says the Italian word of the day is mamaluk. It means stupid, stinking poop. Oh, nicking poop, dumb. Oh, nick-a-poop. All right. Which describes the Democrats. Okay, very good, Godfather. I would never go against you. Lisa, where's your pasta to enjoy with your salad? Yeah. Hey, what do you think of the new Italian place down the street across from McDonald's? We ate there. It was pretty good, actually.
I have not ate there yet.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. And it seems like they got a lot of Italians in there somehow. I don't know how they smuggle them in or what.
Do they come from Wyoming with where our next guest was from?
I got to ask him. He might be coming down to go to the fundraiser for Hardwick. Oh. So we're going to get him down there. Go to some real Italian restaurant here because he's also an Italian. Chris Adamo. He's going to be up next, and. By looking at him, he doesn't look Italian at all. I don't know. What does the looking like Italian mean? It means to me, like, black hair, long black hair, and black eyes and stuff like that. And
if I hear Italian, I think of The Sopranos.
Yeah, the wise guys. Yeah, smart guys. They all know everything, and then they get screwed up or messed up, and they become liable. And this is my father he wasn't in it, but he knew them all, and he worked for a guy that was pretty big in the mafia who got hit. 1954. I was about I was 7 years old when that happened, and my father could have easily been gone by then. And God forbid, because he was the only guy that kept me sane. So, look who we got. Hey, it's the forget about it guy right there. Look at him. Look at he's already. I got him laughing a little bit already. Oh my!
I got one for you today too.
It's huge. It's huge. I got to find your page now.
So we're going to help the leftists today.
We're going to help the leftists?
Yeah.
We'll help them what? Leave the country?
Well, let me ask you a trivia question. Those B2s.
Well, let me introduce you first.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Gee, we got your book up and everything.
Oh, thank you. Yep. There's the book, people.
Right, so,
that's the book.
He is gaining fame with this book, by the way. Liz Cheney, however, is not a fan. He has fixed Wyoming so well. Now he's trying to fix and save Missouri
and Illinois.
Go to the Hill sometime and eat some real toasted ravioli, by the way, all the way from I don't know where he lives these days. Chris Adamo. Okay, Okay, so what was your point you're going to make before I even started your interview?
Those B-2s that flew over to Iran and took out the nuke sites and everything. What base did they come from?
White to whatever it is.
Whiteman Air Force Base,
where my father Melvin was during the war.
Okay, so we're going to help the leftists out because I was expecting all week that because it came from Whiteman Air Force Base, they're going to say that the raid was racist.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that. I saw something like that.
Oh, you did? I thought I was original. All right.
No. I think it might have gotten it off your page. Actually,
okay.
Your Facebook page because you got a lot of information.
Well, they got such absurdities one after another that.
Oh, sure. It's crazy nuts. Crazy time. They're all saying that ISIS they're anti-South American, they're anti-Mexican, and all this stuff. Well, a lot of the people that came through on these hikes to become Americans were from those countries that had many of them being from Venezuela and Guatemala and all that. They're more or less.
We're not against any particular color, any particular race, any particular ethnicity. What we're against is people who don't belong in this country because they're not American citizens. They don't have any vested interest in our future, and they're invading the border. Everybody throughout all of human history understood that you had borders to protect you from outsiders that were not necessarily your friends, not necessarily allies. Okay, everybody understands that. The left, the globalists come out and they say, oh, somehow that's evil. Somehow we have to open the borders to everybody and we have to pay for their food, their medical services. We have to pay for all this and we have to conform.
It's more than trying to be a nice guy. There's something else involved in there, and that's the ability to take over the country.
It's erasing the American culture, which they've been about for decades, and
getting the votes to do it.
Exactly, because the same people who push for the open borders are the same people that have been engaged in all the illegal voting, and that came out big time this week. Now, what have you and I been saying for 4 years? We said that the 2020 election was absolutely stolen, and anybody who contended otherwise was obviously part of the steal.
Okay. Which makes you think even deeper how much they protested too much. Against our understanding that this didn't seem like it was. Now we got proof.
Yeah, we've got proof, and we had the proof in the things that we saw back then. We saw flagrant. I mean, they boarded up the windows. They kicked the Republican monitors out. And then they came up with this vote where miraculously everybody that showed up once they did that voted 98% for Joe Biden.
In the middle of the night.
But what do I always take it back to? Dave? The problem with that was that our side, in the minute the Alinsky mockery starts, you guys are a bunch of conspiracy nuts. Our side started really tiptoeing. Well, we called it, by the end of the week, it's possible voting irregularities. Now, tell me something. If the parties were reversed and the Democrats had done that, and we had done that to the Democrats, would they have ever called it possible voting irregularities?
No, they just go impeach him.
Yeah, they'd be shrieking. They'd be shrieking for the House.
They're impeaching him. They're working it up.
Again, yeah. So I got a couple of pages full of stuff. But I don't want to get ahead of your stuff there. So
let me see if I got something that matches your stuff.
Okay.
Maybe you could be. Oh, wait a minute. So hold on, because this isn't related to that. This is just picking on you, which I like doing, by the way.
Well,
I'm not sure it was. I'm not sure it was relevant, but AOC, Bernie, and Crockett are a lot more, and a lot more Democrat Libyans are threatening Trump with impeachment. So I guess I just crossed.
What's new there? I mean,
what's new is it's great. I mean, every time they do this, Trump's polls go up.
Right. Let me ask you something now. Another trivia question. Who is to blame for the fact that the Democrats do this constantly now?
Who is to blame for
Who's
it?
ultimately to blame?
I would say
I'm going to take it back to my book here. Who's to blame?
I
Remember
would
my
say
chapter on rhinos?
I would say, okay, rhinos, yeah.
John
Rhinos, yeah,
Boehner.
You're right with that, because there's no opposition. They kill the opposition, which is us.
Right. John Boehner, back during the Obama years when Obama was doing stuff like giving Iran money to build nukes.
Yeah.
John Boehner said, "Oh, we're not going to impeach him. We don't want to look like bigots. We're not going to. We want impeachment." He said,
Smart guy.
from Boehner, "Impeachment is not a legal move; it's a political move."
I was calling for his impeachment pretty early on. Actually.
Absolutely, Obama was a traitor, but Boehner comes out and says it's not a legal move; it's political. Now, if you read the Constitution,
now, who is
it says
Boehner? He was Speaker of the House for the Republicans.
He was Rhino Speaker of the House. This was right before Rhino Paul Ryan.
Important guy saying we got to go along with this. Yeah.
So when the Constitution says impeachment for, quote, high crimes and misdemeanors, that's a legal definition.
Yeah.
And yet Boehner comes out and says, no, it's not legal, it's political. And the Democrats went, hey, great. If it's political, we'll impeach every time we feel like it. It was Boehner, it was the rhinos and their spinelessness that opened the door to let the Democrats take the moral high ground on this. And this is how it works every time.
Sure.
And we don't call them out on it. Right now, we should be calling out, loudly calling out the so-called Biden administration. Every time you hear about sleeper cells and the Democrats are saying, oh, Trump is going to awaken the sleeper cells around the country because of what he did with those bunker busters. Okay. Yeah. Who was it that the Biden cabal called the terrorists for the last 4 years? Who were the terrorists that the Biden cabal was?
MAGA.
It was the conservatives. It was parents at school board meetings. It was pro-lifers.
Yeah,
that's it. So if we
Catholics, they went
Catholics,
after if Supreme Court justices, they even went after Supreme Court justices.
So and if we criticize Supreme Court justice lefty loons like those three women in there, then all of a sudden then we're engaging in sedition. The Biden cabal was the one who totally dropped the ball on going after the Iranians because they were going after the Americans. Now, the fact that we have all these Iranians in the country that may or may not attack us, that's Trump's fault because he made them mad.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was Trump's fault that eggs were high. I mean,
yeah.
Now they're lower. They're finding other stuff. Now they're going to impeach
exactly. When things get fixed, they change the subject. The truth is they don't want victory for America.
See, there is some goodness in the fact that Trump was cheated in 2020, because now people understand what they were trying to do to this guy all along.
To us, by the way,
and how awful the Democrats are as a whole, and almost every single one of them are just outrageously stupid.
I wish it was stupid, Dave.
They can't find one little thing that would make America like them again.
I wish it was mere stupidity, because if you're stupid, you know, the old thing about a broken clock being right twice a day. If you're stupid, you occasionally do a lot of wrong things because you don't get it, and you do occasionally do some right things just randomly. But
where
this isn't
are
stupid.
the right things that they're doing randomly?
That's my point exactly. This is not stupid. This is very, very intentional, very malignant, and very intentional.
Yeah,
if they were just stupid, they would fumble around, but occasionally get things right. They have an agenda.
Stupid. They're clever. They think they're clever.
Well, they're evil is what it is. They're evil, anti-American, anti-Western civilization.
But they think they're clever, you see.
Oh, they think so.
They can put up a little sign when the president's giving a speech, you know, not believing this, whatever they put up there, just garbage. While he's giving the national speech for the
while he's giving the State of the Union,
State of the Union, and they're holding up signs, or Pelosi ripping up his script.
Right. Well, exactly. Again, if our side takes these things on in their true light, in their true context, we can shred them with it. But when you get the Thomas Masseys and the Mitch McConnells and the Mitt Romneys and the Liz Cheneys, oh, I'm a lifelong conservative Republican, and I agree with Pelosi on this one. Now you have infiltrators on your side giving credence to the enemy.
Yeah. And you couldn't be any more right. I hate to say that about you. But by the way, are you coming to the Hardwick fundraiser?
I wish. We've got issues going on at this end that are keeping us homebound. I'll just say that.
Well, I got Bill Hardwick coming on. He's going to be sad, but
if I get a chance, I will wish him the best, because he's what we need. He's fighting this good fight.
He is absolutely tremendous. I can't believe how good this guy is, and he's right here in the belly of our range of where I have restaurants and everything in this show. And he's like I say, he's going to be on in about an hour, isn't he? Yeah, about an hour. And so this thing is going to take place on June the 30th of this year at Oak Meadow Country Club. All are welcome, and including, well, you and your wife.
Well, I tell you what, if our circumstances change, I will talk to her, and we'd love to be there. We'd love to see something like this.
I'll house you for,
Oh boy.
You just have to build our garage. But
oh, it would be fun. We'd probably sit up all night talking, I think so.
Well, we can do that. Actually, I'm not going to do a show next week, I don't think. I'm sad to say that, but I got to go somewhere. I haven't done anything gone anywhere since like January of last year, the year before. When was it that we were in Jamaica? Was that this year?
It was December through January, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't quite a year. Seems like a long time. I do a lot of prep work for this.
Lisa deserves better.
Well, that's what I said. You deserve better, honey.
I need to go places.
She needs to go places. Yeah. Someday I'll show her the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm not even going near that one.
Yeah,
good choice, Chris.
You're a rhino. You're a rhino.
Oh, you believe it or not, I'm being.
Oh, I can't say anything about that.
I'm being called a rhino this week. By the way, the swamp, the Illinois GOP swamp, is calling me a rhino. I've told you about Joe Severino, he's a conservative firebrand. We're going to get him in touch with you. You just have to be a little patient with me on that. He's a conservative firebrand. He's taking on the swamp, and no, the swamp. The Jeb Bush Republicans. They're the real Republicans, and we're the rhinos. So yeah, I've been.
Well, get it. I mean, I'm willing to talk to the guy.
Yeah, we'll work it out. He's putting his campaign team together and everything, and so he's kind of burning the candle at eight ends at once. But we will get him on there with you.
Okay.
So
hey, shouldn't engineers honor DEI by letting the roles to the electrical connections to decide their own identities?
Yeah, you saw that one of my posts too. I said every plumber and every electrician in this country, every journeyman can explain gender, whereas your college professors, your Democrat high office politicians, they can't.
No.
So
yeah, if you have a male connection to a female connection,
we all know what that means.
We have to let them decide.
Yeah.
How they want to connect, and we'll blow up everything.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It's idiocy, but the problem with leftist counterculture idiocy is if we don't call it that, it becomes normalized, and this is their goal. This is why the idea, if you think about the atrocity of adults doing operations on children to genitally mutilate them and hormonally pervert them, you think that atrocity, I mean, that goes back to the Moabites sacrificing children on altars, burning them on altars to their pagan god Moloch. This is literally the exact same thing, and yet it's called gender affirmation. Tell me something. If you're a boy and we want to affirm your gender, we need to tell you you're a boy.
Yeah.
Okay, but they call it gender affirmation, gender affirming surgery.
I never understood it. It isn't a big part of the population.
Well, they're trying to make it a big part. If you look at it again, these people advance themselves through destroying common sense, reason, basic morality, basic right and wrong, basic truth. That's how they advance their agenda. That's the only way leftists can advance their agenda.
Well, they're doing it out right here, right
Oh,
next
yeah.
The state house, the city council and the mayor and all that.
And they'll look you right in the face and say, this is compassion for these kids. Those kids that go through those surgeries, the suicide rate among them is astronomical. But once they've gone through the surgery, once they've used them as their little examples to hold up to everybody for their so-called compassion, now they throw them away like a baby from an abortion clinic. Because they don't have any use for them anymore. It's absolutely despicable. And yet, if you listen to them, they'll talk about it in terms of normality, of reason, of common sense. And there again is where our side has to stop coloring inside their lines and start calling the truth what it is.
They have drag shows. These are transgender. I guess it's mostly men to women. I guess
these are sick perverts,
and they're telling the parents they can't come.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you crazy?
Okay, now here's the question, Dave. Why does any parent, when they find this out, why does any parent leave their kid in that school?
That's a good question. I don't know
because
they're nuts too. Maybe they're liberal.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. And again, those people. They're so given over to that depravity that they'll wreck their child's life because they feel like they're making a moral statement that makes them look open-minded and compassionate. Yeah. And it's an abomination, and it's a hideous, unspeakable abuse of that child.
It's like abortion too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of women that have abortions, and not all, I'm sure, but most, or I don't know how. You'd have to make it a real big study, and I'm sure somewhere there's a study out. But I know that some women are really having a tough time.
Oh, the suicide rate amongst post-aborted women is extremely high. It's much higher than the national average.
Because they know what they did. They figure it out. It's it's a thing to do when you were young, and
reality doesn't just wander off and leave you at that point. Denial doesn't change reality.
Maybe you have children that are alive that know about this and are saying, "Where's our little brother? Where's our sister? Didn't you have a baby?"
The reality around you screams
they gotta
at you.
Tell them that, and my God, that's got to be devastating to a person.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Norma McCorvey, who was the original Roe in Roe versus Wade, they used to parade her every year for their commemoration of Roe v. Wade and what this did for women. One day she's walking past an empty playground, and it dawned on her that playground would have been full of children if it wasn't for her. She was the reason so many of those children were gone. And that at that point, two things happened with her. She was crushed by the guilt of what she had done, and she literally came to Jesus. She received his forgiveness. And then she went out and spoke the truth and said, I was a pawn. I was used by the pro-aborts. They had me lie in my testimony in that court and everything. Now, at that point, the left just suddenly, she becomes persona non grata. They treated her as if she didn't exist anymore. And so because they're going to maintain the lie. As long as she was helping the lie, then she was their hero. The minute she speaks the truth, they have no use for her. And then they move on. They discard her like they discard the unborn babies.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But on another subject, along with this 33-year-old Muslim who is a Jew hater that's trying to take over New York City, and he's a big Marxist, Marxist, wouldn't you say? I can't see how every Jew in that city is going to either stay there and or vote against this guy, no matter who it is.
Okay, you're absolutely right about that.
Adams has learned his lessons. I'd vote for him if I was.
I know he's speaking the truth. He's which I don't know why he's still a Democrat, because they hate the truth.
Well, he's not. He's a libertarian now.
Oh, now he's gone libertarian. Okay,
and,
well,
that's a step away from being a Republican. So
which if you look at the news coverage in New York, there's two things that you need to understand about what happened in New York. Number one, they bought into the ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting, however they skew it, however they tell you, however they paint it up, ranked choice voting means you have to give some support to your opposition, because they don't have a choice of none of the above, or that we have 6 candidates and I give this candidate 0. Okay, you have to give them some support, and this is the way ranked choice voting skews the elections. It's the way Lisa Murkowski got back in Alaska. If in the primary there, if they did polls, if it was a straight primary where you vote for your candidate or you vote against the other guy and that's it, she would have lost. Sarah Palin would have won. But ranked choice voting, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. They paint it up, well, you get more choices this way. And then here's what happes. You end up with people like this. Number one. Now, number two, if you watch the liberals that voted for this guy, they had videos of these people who are going to vote for him. They're going to vote for him. And what you see from these people is this blinding, this is revolting, blinding sanctimony. I'm going to show just how open-minded I am by voting for this Muslim socialist, because that proves that I'm such a virtuous person. This is what they did in 2008, 7 years after 9/11. We get Barack Hussein Obama as president, and the people were just patting themselves on their sanctimonious backs because they could be so open-minded to do this. And was it a disaster? Was it a predictable disaster?
Absolutely a disaster. And it gave us Biden, and it gave us all the people that were penning in legislation for Biden.
And now when you look at this Mandami in New York, the things that he's promising, it's going to turn in, New York will turn into, if he gets in, every bit the socialist hellhole that always happens when these people get into power. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to come to you and me and say, well, this is part of your country, and your patriotic duty is to support one of your country's biggest cities. And you know what? The people are going to jump right in there is the good old rhinos. We do need to support our cities.
You need to kick these guys out.
We need to come together, Dave. We need to all come together and unify as a country.
I would agree with that. You're so right about that. So why does AOC and Crockett complain consistently about never being given intelligence?
You saw that one of mine too. That was another one of my posts. Yeah,
you're easy to prep for because you got all.
Those two. I said that was
I just taking you this long to figure this out.
Yeah, they definitely. That's the first time I've ever agreed with AOC that she and Crockett were never given any intelligence anywhere. Actually, if they ever were, they spit it out pretty quickly because they're. The polite word for them would be stuck on stupid.
They're incapable of having a thought that means anything that you can back up. Kamala the same way.
You know what the worst part of this? Go back to my book here, chapter 1.
Yeah.
The number one motivation of leftists that enables all the other things that they do, all the other evils that they commit, all the other idiocy they commit. The number one thing is that they are blinded by their arrogance. If you listen to Crockett or you listen to AOC, forget about the words they're saying. Listen to the manner in which they present them.
Yeah.
They're out there giving you this unassailable wisdom.
You a lesson.
Yeah, exactly right.
Teach you this.
This is what you need to know because I am brilliant. And that's the arrogance. If you can get somebody to that point,
question my intelligence.
Exactly. Once you get somebody to that point, you can get them to do anything. And so they're the most committed minions of leftist lunacy because they do it believing themselves to be these beacons of light shining into the darkness.
They're bullies. You know, the whole thing comes down to being a bully. And not knowing anything. You don't have to know anything to be a bully. You just come on with this strong persona,
bravado, yeah.
bravado, and yeah, what are you going to do about it? You know, and pretty soon somebody's going to call on you, and they're going to do something about it.
Well, and that's what needs to happen. And again, it doesn't come from the Thomas Masseys or the Mitch McConnells. It doesn't come from the Mitt Romneys or the Liz Cheneys or the Adam Kinzingers. It comes from the Donald Trumps. It comes from the J.D. Vances.
Yeah.
The people that say, you know what, I'm not going to color inside your lines. I'm not going to try to make you, Mr. Lefty, think I'm a nice person, because you never will. I'm going to go out and speak the truth to the American people so that they can hear the truth and see the contrast between the truth and your leftist lunacy.
So Trump is he's pumped by demolishing Iran's nukes, and that NATO raised the rate from 2 to 5. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's an amazing thing. The guy's on a roll.
Let's clarify that now. Just when you say 2 to 5, what happened was that NATO was willing to spend 2% of their gross domestic product, the countries of NATO, on their military. So guess who is taking up the slack? The United States of America.
Right.
And Trump said, no, this isn't going to happen.
Right.
You need to raise
We were really protecting them at no cost to them. They weren't paying their
decades.
way. Yes.
So they could take the money that we're spending on their military or on our military to protect them. They could take that money that they're not spending on their military, and they can use it for all their little stupid social programs that still made a wreck out of their economies or whatever. The point being, Trump says, no, this game is over. This is like the tariffs where no, you've done this to us for years. We've foot the bill for this for years. We're not doing it anymore. You know what that's called? That's called leadership.
Well, yeah, and it's called what the NATO, the head of NATO called Trump, Daddy.
Yeah, I heard that.
Call him Daddy.
I heard that, and he was having fun with it, and Trump was, and the little lefty heads are exploding all over the place.
I did my monologue on that. He's like a daddy now. So I had, for Father's Day, now this is way before this happening, my children and grandchildren got me a T-shirt that on the back of it had a picture of Trump and a golf bag and a question: who's your caddy? It goes, I wonder if that's worth something now. That's really cool.
I'll tell you, another T-shirt.
I can see the "Who's Your Daddy" shirts coming out on Trump. We need to be the first, Chris. Well, let's make some money here.
I believe it's Babylon B that's come out with Gulf of America T-shirts, and I'm not a T-shirt guy normally. I want one of those Gulf of America T-shirts.
Well, you're a T-shirt guy. You wear it. You're wearing them. All right. Anyways, other than Dave Weinbaum show, where can people find you and buy your book?
Well, I'm still at Amazon. Rules for Defeating Radicals. I'm telling you, when I watch how our Republican Party, in so many ways, the state organizations outside of Wyoming is kicking butt, and Bill Hardwick is kicking butts. We still have so many people that's in the Republican Party that think they have to color inside the lines. This is still needed so our side can understand who the enemy is, how he operates, and how we can defeat him.
All righty. So a plane of Dalmatians crashed. All survivors were spotted.
I'm thinking about connecting the dots or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't even understand that one, do you?
I understood that.
All the dogs were spotted. Oh, my
smiling.
God!
I'm almost laughing.
Andre kind of thing.
I'm almost laughing.
Yeah, you're almost laughing. Wow, jeez. Oh my God! Give him crickets. I want him to have crickets. See how it feels. Oh, give me up. Oh, I know what. Eddie Murphy. You're getting Eddie Murphy. Here you go.
Hey, I want you to know, if you wanted, I got this much more that we could still talk about.
Well, okay. I'm waiting for a new guy. As soon as he shows up, yes.
All right. Well, then briefly, what I would like to, one of the most important things I want to go into is the fact that if you look at how the media covered this whole Iran situation, you cannot come to any conclusion other than they are cheering for the Iranians because they're screaming, shrieking against America. For starters, the same people The same people who started by saying Iran wasn't building any nukes. They weren't building any nukes.
Yep.
Once Trump sent in the B-2s,
No nukes.
then they didn't actually take out the nukes. So it
Yeah.
was, we were wrong in the beginning because there weren't any nukes. Now, once we send in the B-2s and we absolutely blow these places off the map, now, well, you didn't actually succeed. Either way, the only thing consistent there is that they're lying, and they're lying to the detriment of America. This is who these media people are.
Yes, exactly. And they're calling them out on it, hopefully.
Yep.
Some of it is treasonous. I mean, look
Absolutely.
at these people they're doing a great job of building up these people. They're from 21 years old to 28 years old, and they're handling this thing, and it's huge. It's bigger than Hiroshima or anything like that. It is huge, and they're destroying nuclear weapons. It wasn't out to kill populations or anything like that. They were destroying what could have been the worst devastation in history. Okay,
And who's the left cheering for the whole time?
they're cheering for Iran.
Absolutely.
Sure, and they're cheering against America. Anything they can do to hurt America, and then there ought to be something done about it when it comes to fraud like that. Because
that's the one thing that they're consistent about. It's always going to be anti-American. If they pick a candidate, it's going to be like that Mandami in New York. It's going to be anti-American. If they pick an issue, it's going to be anti-American. They want to get rid of Western culture. Why do they want to get rid of Western culture? Well, because we're evil. We fought wars and conquered people. So what do they want to do in the meantime? They'll bring in the Islamists and the South American Marxists. Okay, so every step of the way, it's anti-American. The only thing they're consistent about is they're anti-American.
Well, we still need them to. They say they haven't had any new incursions over the border in the last couple of months.
Is that a success?
Oh my gosh! Well,
that's a huge success.
But it's also something that we still have a lot of millions of people here.
Oh, a lot of cleaning up to do. That was a first
clean
step.
up on Isle America is what we got. Okay, Chris Razzani, this just from Fox.
Ranzini, come on, you got to say it right.
Hey, forget about it, will you? I got a new guest. I'm trying to get some information to you from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court backs parents in LGBTQ book dispute. Oh, wow.
LGBTQ. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. That's good news.
And you can count on, again, those three leftist lunatic women were the ones that it was not a 9-0 decision, which it should have been, in favor of parents raising their kids properly. The Supreme Court is split on that. Think about what that means.
It means we got a lot of idiots in the Supreme Court.
It means we got leftists there.
And here they're checking out. They're checking out the last one to see whether or not this was a pen kind of.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt. Well, I'll even
Jackson.
go.
Her name is Jackson something. I forget the last name.
Katani. Yeah, I will go this far, and I've said this from the beginning. I've said this from 2020, before the election ever took place. I said Biden is not in control of any of this. As a matter of fact, I will emphatically state history will prove that Biden did not make not one single executive decision the entire time he was in office. He was a puppet the entire time. People made those decisions. They put it in front of him, and maybe he signed it. Maybe he didn't. He had no clue. He didn't even know what room he was in. And so, no, these people are not legitimate, even from that perspective.
Well, this is criminal activity right there.
Absolutely, it is. It's treasonous, criminal, because they were usurping the office of the president of the United States.
Yeah.
After they usurped the election. Yeah. So, it's crime on top of crime.
Yep. All right. I got my next guest.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the great work.
Friend. Hi to your lovely bride.
I will do that.
Chris Adamo.
God bless. Bye-bye. Great weekend.
All righty. Well, we got our next guest is coming up. A lot of stuff going on there. Okay. He is head on trying to make this work. There he is. Look at a guy. He's a handsome guy. White House journalist. He's like a correspondent, actually. He's a magician. Intermountain Christian News. PhD in music. And let's see, he recently covered Presidents Obama and Trump and Biden. Recently in Israel, interviews with Huckabee and Bibi's brother, Ido Netanyahu. Please welcome all the way from, let's see, he's from Idaho. Please welcome Dr. Matthew Anthony Harper. How are you, Dr. Arthur or Harper? What should I call you?
Harper, Dr. Harper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show. So Trump convinces NATO to contribute 5% of their GNP, and the head of NATO calls him Daddy. What's your thoughts on that?
I've never had any reference of him being called Daddy, but that's good news that NATO's doing more. They need to do even more.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been lax, haven't they? They were down. They weren't even paying the 2% they'd agreed upon. Spain was especially terrible.
Yeah, NATO has to do a lot more, and so thankfully, President Trump has made a difference in that, and he's done a lot of other good as well. But there's a lot more to do.
Well, tell me about your relationship with Israel and your interview, which we're playing parts of as I speak. We're playing this with Huckabee, Ambassador Huckabee.
Okay, well, special connection there. It is it was a very unique opportunity for me to have this interview with a U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, just about a day and a half before the war started out. So after the war started, he stopped doing interviews. So thankfully got in there before that. And then hopefully I will have another one as well here shortly. But
yeah, I guess things are a little bit tightened right now, don't you think?
They are. So I'm hoping to do a lot more regarding Israel. But the troublesome issue is that the Ayatollah is still in power, and he will continue to fund terror proxy groups.
Yeah,
with all that oil revenue money, and so there has to be regime change, and hopefully that will be very soon.
So if you were the Prime Minister of Israel, which you're not, and I don't know if you're going to answer this or not because you want to get back there again, how would you have handled the invasion of Hamas and the knowledge that you'd be fighting against all these 7 entities all over the Middle East?
Prime Minister Netanyahu's hands were tied to some degree, so I probably couldn't have done much different than what he did. He did the best that he could. I mean, he did have the support from President Biden back then to a limited degree, but wasn't able to go in and completely take out Hamas quickly as would be, I'm sure, that he wanted to do. President Biden did limit the weapons that Israel was able to use.
Yeah,
very troublesome. And for Israel to be dependent upon the U.S. for weapons is also troublesome. It's too bad that Israel doesn't have all their own weapon factories and capabilities, as well as, factories to build their own planes.
Well, there's 75%. I mean, if you took 75 Israels, you could put them into Iran, and you still have room. So it's a little difficult, I would think, to have that. It's a small population. It's like under 10,000 or 10 million. I'm sorry, and Iran has about 100 million plus. So it's kind of difficult for that to expect them to have that. God bless the United States for helping them out. My question, though, is this is a long time in the forming. In fact, it's 4,000 years or so in the forming. And you, as a Christian, are you a pastor?
I'm a minister as well. Yes.
Minister, yes. You understand the biblical consequences of 4,000 years of war in that area. How do you think Israel should have handled this from the get-go, from the times that they were attacked, even in the 1967 Six-Day War till now? What would you have done? What would you have advised them to do differently?
Well, I would advise them. Well, first of all, there has to be a lot of prayer. I mean, the Jewish scripture is very clear about what is needed in dealing with enemies. Of course, King David is a clear example. There were mistakes that Israel made by presuming that they could go into war and be successful. There has to be a lot of humility. There has to be a seeking of God in every way. So there is no way that we can be victorious without God. That humility, that repentance. Actually, God tells Solomon, 2 Chronicles 7:14, the solution about dealing with Israel's problems, when he said, "If my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sins and heal their land." And this even applies to America.
He wanted people to pray to him.
Yeah, God wants people to pray to him and to seek him.
God wants that.
So, yeah, people need to be humble before God.
Yeah.
Because there is no victory without God's help. So Israel, we can be praying for Israel. By the way, in Genesis 12:3, it talks about blessings for those that bless Abraham and the curses for those that curse Abraham and his seed. And Israel is Abraham's offspring.
Right. So where does Jesus come into this?
Oh, Jesus, we know clearly is the Messiah. I mean, a lot of Jewish people do not accept him as Messiah. But in Zechariah chapter 14, it talks about the Messiah's return in actually vengeance to take out his anger, his destruction upon all of Israel's enemies. I would encourage people to read Zechariah 14, a very special chapter. There's nothing like it in the whole Jewish scripture. A very unique day, the day of the Lord, a very special day. And a lot of Jewish people are longing for their Messiah, they call Mashiach, to return. And that is a powerful reentry for the Jewish Messiah. And I long for that day. But
yeah, it's going to be really interesting if we live to see it. I doubt that we will, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see that. And it's just one question: if you're a Jew like me, now plenty of people turn to Christianity from other religions. You say you might have some Jewish blood in you, or you know that you have some Jewish blood in you. For me, though, I look at the Ten Commandments, and the one commandment that says, "You shall not," and I'm saying this off my head, "You shall not pray before any other god." Now, nobody. I've never seen anything come down denying that, and somehow Christians have gone and said that, well, Jesus is part of God, and so is Mother Mary. I don't see where it says that in the Old Testament. You see,
I don't see anything in the Jewish scripture whatsoever that Mary is part of God. I mean, she plays a very special role from a Christian perspective. This is, I think, the easy way to explain. There's a reference to the Godhead in Colossians in the Christian scriptures about the Father and Jesus and the Holy Spirit playing or forming the Godhead is referenced, that God is in. There's three parts of God, or God is an office held by three people. Of course, in the Jewish scripture, it talks about in Genesis about there's reference to and they heard the sound of God walk in the garden in the cool of the day. This is Adam and Eve that heard this, and so this is a physical manifestation. People may not have considered that this is a very sensitive issue for a lot of people, and there are a lot of Jewish people that do accept Jesus, referred to as Yeshua in Hebrew, as Messiah, and of course, a lot of the Christian scriptures are written by Jewish people, and Jesus is Jewish.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering that there's also anger involved if you don't switch to be a Jew for Jesus. Okay, and there's anger brought about if you refuse that offer, not meant to hurt anybody, but there seems to be outward pissing off Christians if you don't agree to say Jesus is my savior. Why is that? Why don't we just let each other live our lives? I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Well, it doesn't upset me. I mean, people shouldn't. And people have the right to accept whatever they want to, and the consequences thereby. But so I believe it's wrong to pressure anyone to accept anything. We should have, and we do have, the religious freedom here in America to be able to share our religious beliefs, to be able to worship. And in Christianity, we're compelled to share the gospel with people, but we shouldn't be forcing that on anyone. I think there's been a bad witness, a bad example for parts of Christianity over the long history, especially in reference to the Crusades. I know several Jewish people very angry about the Catholic Church and what happened with the Crusades. The way that Jewish people were treated, and that's totally unacceptable. That was evil on the part of those people representing Christianity to be doing that.
Yeah, and that kind of that's a big issue for me, because I grew up in Chicago, and there was a lot of anti-Semitism going on, and I mean, I played football, and one day I found and there was not many Jews playing in the school. And one day I found a Jewish star on my locker in tape. Okay. And the coach came by and he says, Weinbaum, you okay with this? I says, actually, I am. It's what I am. And I'm very proud. And I said, I hope you leave it up. And he didn't do it. But I thought it was interesting that I was singled out like that, as just a football player trying to play football.
And Christian people are singled out as well.
Oh, I'm sure
there's a lot of Christian persecution and Jewish persecution, and it's very sad, and I'm so sorry that.
Well, but it's usually not the Jews telling the Christians you should be Jewish.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. So it is wrong to force one's religion upon someone else.
Right.
Although, like as I mentioned, we have the religious freedom in America to be able to share our beliefs, but we should do it in a way that is open and lets people make their own decisions without any pressure.
I mean, where would you find the comedians if you didn't have Jews?
Yeah, a lot of good comedians.
And I know you have a sense of humor too. So.
Well, I do, because I'm from the potato state of Idaho.
Yes, you have. Tell us about your experience in the potato business.
In the potato business, I used to work for potato companies. I work for farmers in harvesting potatoes and processing potato companies, delivering potatoes.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of potatoes. I like to say that I've seen more eyes than most people have seen.
See, there you go. And you know what? I'm a McDonald's franchisee as well, and
all right,
you know, I've sold a lot of those potatoes, and I remember standing out there in Boise somewhere on a farm, looking at these potatoes. You know, and you're right. None of them have any eyes. So
well, you've heard that phrase, "The eyes have it," and they sure do in Idaho.
yeah, there you go.
Good to have a sense of humor in all this, and
you know that's really important, very important. You know, I think I got some serious things. You have a lot of serious things. Now, tell me how you became you're a journalist, right? What do you consider yourself, a journalist or a correspondent?
Well, you know, formally the title at the White House is correspondent. So I think that they're used as synonymously or interchangeably, a journalist or a correspondent. But that's the White House term. People may often hear that word White House correspondent in reference to work there. But a very unique role. I don't take it lightly. You know, regarding Jewish people, Israel, I've got a big responsibility. I'm usually the only one there exposing anti-Semitism so much. I get bullied because of what I do there.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you get bullied by bringing up anti-Semitism in the correspondence room, in the journalist?
I would say that I am being bullied because of bringing up anti-Semitism.
Really?
By some of the reporters. Actually, I've had some bad experiences with Arab reporters that get upset with me for exposing their own anti-Semitism.
Oh.
Yeah, and so from what I do there, I'm being bullied on several fronts. But I would say mainly, you know, a lot of reporters, they know that I'm mainly there about Israel exposing anti-Semitism and throughout the world, whether it's a Jewish cemetery desecration in Vilnius, Lithuania, you know, different forms of anti-Semitism. I'm very outspoken about this matter, and it was my questions about the UN agency UNRWA exposing that led to President Trump defunding it. And that got the attention of the Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Because they were part of the attack by Hamas. They were actually in the attack. Some of the people working for UNRWA, whatever you call it, and from the UN, they were actually seen attacking Israel on October the 7th, 23.
Very upsetting that Hamas is directly involved with UNRWA. You know, the Ayatollah is still in power, funding UNRWA, other Arab countries funding UNRWA, funding terror proxy groups. So this is unacceptable. We need a miracle for these, I refer to them, wicked people, to be removed. We need to be a blessing to Israel. And so I'm at the White House being a blessing to Israel. I sang the Israeli national anthem in the White House press room, by the way, which angered some journalists, some of the White House correspondents there. But I need to continue to report truth about Israel and about the blessings for those that bless Israel, and to remind people about the curses as well, and the importance of, as President Lincoln called for, a time of national repentance. As I mentioned in 2 Chronicles 7:14, what the God of Israel tells Solomon is the importance of repentance. And this is really lacking in America. And President Lincoln was trying to make a point how serious this is, that he said that we have forgotten God. It is so true. America has forgotten God. And he said also that we need to repent of our many national sins in hopes that God would have mercy on us and forgive us. This is his proclamation appointing a national fast day at the top of our news website, imcnews.org. Every American, I believe, needs to be familiar with this and heed President Lincoln's words. I mean, he quoted from the Jewish scripture, Psalm 33:12, which states, "Blessed only are the nations whose God is the Lord." And that is very true. And I get to quote this at the White House, what President Lincoln had to say. And whether it's to other news reporters or to White House staff, everyone needs to know the importance of President Lincoln's words.
Well, that's great. That's good stuff. Now, you're having a little bit of trouble with Caroline Levitt. What's the problem there?
I don't know what the problem exactly is, but hopefully she'll take my questions. I need to return there so I can.
Well, I'm sure she's listening. Caroline, take this man's questions.
Yeah,
he's
please.
a good, righteous Christian and American, for goodness sakes. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, you know, I've reminded her about my important role with the Israel Prime Minister,
sure,
and how I helped President Trump expose this UN agency. So they should take my questions because of that, you know, track record. I've been there to be blessing to Israel, and they need to honor these questions that are important to help Israel. And I think one question right now is, and I think President Trump should be thanked for all the good that he's done regarding Israel and helping Israel, more than any other president than President Truman, and of course that helped establish the I call it the nation of Israel.
Sure.
I don't see Israel as a state, but a nation. But I do hope that Press Secretary Caroline Levitt will take my questions because of that background. I get to meet with the Prime Minister's family. I have, as you mentioned, an interview with the Prime Minister's brother, Dr. Ido Netanyahu.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's a medical doctor, a radiologist, by the way.
Yeah.
But so I have this unique role, and I at the White House.
And you have plenty of connections with a lot of leaders like Bibi Netanyahu.
I do, and you know, maybe the press secretary prefers large audience platforms of 50 million people, which I don't have.
Well, I wonder if there's some miscalculation on President Trump's side, that somebody didn't bury you somehow with a few words. I'll have to call him up and tell him, God wants you to talk to this guy, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, it is so important. I would encourage people to, you know, go through the White House website, whitehouse.gov, and just ask them to take my questions.
Yeah.
To remind them all that I've done to be a blessing to Israel there. And I'm there to continue to be a blessing to Israel and America.
I can see
and
that.
to report the truth.
Yeah.
A lot of the media isn't about reporting truth,
Yeah.
and I'm reporting the truth about the Israel and blessing Israel.
How do you stand some of these guys that are just utter liars, who pose themselves as mainstream media and journalists? I don't.
It's
I
very
don't know
frustrating.
Why you do that?
It's very frustrating. Well, only the God of Israel can help me, so I give him credit. It's only with his help I've been able to do what I've been able to do, and being the underdog in many ways. You know, being from the state of Idaho, and you know, I do believe King David is a wonderful example about being the underdog. He wasn't considered it by his father as being the one that God would choose to lead Israel, the smallest in stature of the children. Yeah. But
he's my idol. He's my idol, if you can say that word. He is my hero.
Well, he is my hero as well, because I think about what he went through, and he was repentant. I mean, he was really honest, and it says in the Jewish scripture, a man after God's own heart.
Yeah.
I love Psalm 27:4, and this is my favorite verse, and that is, for this one thing I seek after, I do seek, is to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life.
Yeah.
To gaze upon his beauty and inquire of him in his temple. And this describes my heart as well.
Yeah.
Is to be focused on God, to be captivated by his beauty, to look to him, to the God of Israel, as my instructor.
Yeah. Well, we're on the same base. This is getting serious here. I mean, I absolutely feel the same way. I want to know stuff. I want to when I go, I want to know stuff. I want to talk to Jesus. I would love to talk to Jesus and reflect on him, and I want to talk to God. I'd love to ask questions that I have no real knowledge of. So,
Well, as you know, I'm very partial to Jesus or Yeshua, and actually, he appeared in a dream to me one time.
Yeah, you told me. You go ahead, tell the audience.
Very special. Well, I'm crying. I'm crying in the dream on the Temple Mount, and I was sitting on a concrete bench there, all alone, and someone with a white robe, a golden sash around his waist, approaches me and sits beside me and puts his arm around me and tells me that he loves me and that he's proud of me and that I would get through this painful time of my life. And it's just like Jesus, Yeshua, to comfort people and when they're crying, and God of Israel cares about people crying. I think about King David being very emotional, and King David and I have a lot in common, being musicians.
You got a song you want to end this with?
What was that?
You got a song you want to end this with?
Well, I mean, I could end it with Hatikvah.
Go ahead.
That's the Jewish, that's the Israeli national anthem. And I want to say what it means in English. Hatikvah means the hope. My understanding in English, it means as the heart beats true for the Jew, looking towards the east, towards Jerusalem. The 2,000-year-old hope will not be lost, to live free in the land of Zion and Jerusalem. And this is what it is in Hebrew. I would encourage people to look it up on the internet, on our YouTube channel, where I get to sing the Israeli national anthem there. But here it is. Kol beleva penima nefesh Yehudi homiya upatem mizrak kadima ayin Zion Sophia ozo abda tikvatenu hatikva bashnot apayim lihoram hopshi be'arsenu eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim lihoram hopshi be'arsenu eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim.
All right, now I have a gentleman here who is running for state senator, and he's a great Christian, and his name is Bill Hardwick. Say hello to Dr. Harper here.
Hi, Dr. Harper. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you. And I look forward to seeing you in person, meeting with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I want to encourage people to pray for Christian people, myself being at the White House, making a difference regarding Israel.
Yes.
For that favor that is needed, and asking questions that will be a blessing to Israel and America.
And my wife Lisa here too.
Caroline Levitt.
She's a minister.
Who is a minister?
My wife.
Oh, yes, you did mention that.
Yeah, and J.P. Maxwell, he's a producer. His mother is a good friend of us, and she's a preacher out here, pastor, right? Pastor, yes. So I'm surrounded by all these Christians. It's amazing.
It is wonderful. I'm sure that you're having a great experience, learning from a Christian perspective, Christian concerns. And hopefully Christians will be a lot more of a blessing to Israel. America will be a blessing to Israel. And I pray that everyone will be able to know to God, have a respect for the God of Israel.
I sent my iPhone to college. It flunked communications.
Oh no,
that's very little humor, but I got. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Harper, and we'll do this again sometime, okay? And feel free to call me if you got something new. All right.
Well, it's great to join you. Thank you, Dave.
Great to have you here. Thank you. Let's hear it for Dr. Harper. All right. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Hardwick. Huh? Yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel, Intermountain Christian News, and you'll see a lot with my experiences in Israel with Israel leaders, Knesset member interviews, my questions to the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister's brother interview. A lot of wonderful resources there, and pray even more importantly, that I would have the support to return to the White House, because I need to be there, and I need people to help me to return.
Yes, and we have that in our minds. My wife does, and JP over here, and Hardwick. We'll all put you in there, because I think you're a good guy, and I think you mean well, and you're telling the truth as you see it. I like that.
Yeah, I see the truth. I tell the truth. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now we have. Wow, how are you doing?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
That was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I can't hear the. Is it my thing on?
Uh-oh.
1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, there it is. Yeah,
there it is? Okay.
Sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there you go. There you
now
go.
you're in for a new treat.
Okay.
And this gentleman here is Iraqi war platoon leader, politician, lawyer, professor, and philosopher. Please welcome my Congressman Bill Hardwick. Play the speech. Yes. We're going to play the speech. Got to play the speech, and then we'll get into what we're going to be talking about. We got a big deal coming up Monday, the 30th.
Big shindig.
Big shindig, yeah.
Yeah.
Over at Oak Meadow Country Club. We're going to start 5:00, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We got McDonald's ordered.
I'm loving it.
There he did. Wait, that's great. Boom. Yeah. There you go. All right, here we go. Hit it.
The distinguished gentleman from Pulaski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to speak on the bill.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, last year we had the Amendment 3 debate in our districts, and many of you did and made our positions where we were. And in my district, I argued vociferously against Amendment 3. Tried to put up signs. I did town halls. I did debates. And everywhere I went, I said that my conscience and my beliefs about what was right and wrong believes that this should not be in our Constitution. And everywhere I went, I said, even if it does pass, because it's such a core belief that I believe in, I'll fight to repeal it. I'll fight to take out what I think should not be in the Constitution and replace it, which I think we should uphold, which is a principle and a value of life. So I did that to the utmost of my ability, but my district still voted to approve Amendment 3 at the end of the day. However, at the same time, my district voted to re-elect me by 71%, knowing that that was a central position, and knowing that I even said at many town halls, I'm willing to lose my seat, even if it costs me votes, in order to fight against Amendment 3. So I got elected, and I'm back here now. And if I ask the question, what do I do? What do I do with this choice that I'm presented, where I have this contradiction between what the voters voted on and what I said that I would uphold no matter what if I were elected? And so what I'm left to do is do what I truly believe in. And I want to describe what I believe in, first of all, as something I believe in math and logic. And here's a principle in mathematics and logic, that if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. It's called the transitive property of equality. It means if one thing's equal to something else, and that's equal to something else, they're all equal. And why is that relevant to what we're talking about? Because if any human life at all is worth protecting, is valuable, means something, is not just nothing in a nihilistic universe, if any of our lives matter, then all of our lives matter. Or the other possibility is none of our lives matter. Logically speaking, there are just two things that could exist. Either none of our lives are important, none of our lives worth protecting, or every single life is worth protecting. And I believe deep down inside, to the to the chagrin and the disagreement to many of my colleagues and people around the state, I believe every single life is worth protecting. Whether you have a disability, whether someone has Down syndrome, no matter what their race is, no matter whether they're a Republican or Democrat, every human life, and yes, I believe, is a gift from God. And I don't know why tragic things happen and horrible things happen, but I know that I believe that life comes from God and God wants us to live. And I think that my duty here in this place is to do every single thing I can to protect life and uphold life. And I think that the mother is a human life and the baby is a human life. And our duty as legislators is to protect both of them as people who have equal worth and value, just like everybody in our state. And so this bill comes before us. It's the opportunity to do what I said I would do and do what I believe in. And so it's easy for me to vote yes. It's easy for me to vote yes for that precept and that principle. And it's been said, I think it's been said on the floor, you guys will just keep fighting, you keep going for it. Yeah, if something you truly believe in is that important and matters that much as what we say about all human life, there's nothing more basic and important and central as to whether or not any one of our lives matters. I think a lot of us are not here holding our nose voting for it. I think a lot of us are here for this very reason. It's why we ran for office. It's why we came to the legislature, to uphold this basic principle that every human life is important and that every human life has equal worth and value ontologically, and that there's no higher good than us protecting that and defending that. And so I hope everyone will vote for this resolution. I know I certainly will. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, my point in playing this is this is one of the best speeches I've ever heard, and it came out of the mouth of this gentleman I'm sitting across from, and he didn't read this. He was going along as he was making it up, and it was a cohesive reason for me to develop what he was saying as to the importance of human life via babies mainly, and babies ought to be allowed to live. And it's so simple, and yet it's so necessary. I think, well, absolutely. If we don't have babies, we all die eventually, and it's very compassionate the way you put it. So, you have any comments? What this speech is this? Am I the only guy that's crazy about this speech?
I don't know. I don't know if people were crazy about it. I wasn't planning on talking during that debate. I wasn't scheduled to talk. I didn't have a prepared remarks. I just kind of said I'd like to say something so the Republicans should talk too, and gave my points as to why I think we should become a pro-life state again. It's a foundational political belief, philosophical belief I have, that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that is a mathematical, logical thing in my viewpoint, that you can't say that a child with Down syndrome or that has a developmental disability is not worthy of life or living, because what's the difference between that child and you? What's the difference between the baby and the elderly person who needs help to survive? What's the difference between any of us? Either God is the one who makes us and says that we're valuable and we have to be protected, or we're just animals on the earth, right? And none of it matters. So you can't have it both ways. So if we start with that God creates human life and says that we should protect it, then we can build a society based on that. We can build how we treat one another based on that, which is we're not going to hurt each other. We're not going to do violence to each other. We're not going to take each other's property. We're not going to steal from each other. We're not going to do wrong to one another. Upholding life and saying life should be respected is what allows us to build a civil society. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're just in a Hobbesian state of nature, right? We're just trying not to die. And it doesn't matter, and we're going to die. But I choose not to believe that situation. What I believe is that that the first thing I said is true, that there's a point to the whole thing. And that means that the same reason why I don't want you to hurt me is the same reason why I can't hurt you.
Same reason why I can't hurt somebody with a disability or an elderly person or a little baby or a mom who's pregnant and scared. It's pretty. I've never been pregnant, as many Democrats point out, but it seems like a pretty scary thing. It
To
seems
them,
like,
you could be.
No, I couldn't be. I couldn't
To
be.
them, oh yeah, of course.
No, but it seems like a pretty vulnerable thing. It
Yeah.
seems like a pretty scary thing.
Very scary.
And it seems like something that you really, really need, ideally your husband to help you with, but you need people to help you through it.
Sure.
Right? It's designed that way for people to protect you and support you and hold you and uplift you and be there for you when you're tired and it's scary. Right? And that's the way life is too for all of us. We're not meant to go through it by ourselves, right? We need people to help hold us up. So I think that's a good thing to think about and to build a philosophy on.
Well, here's a blurb I'm getting for the second time from Christopher Ronzini. The Supreme Court rules parents can opt out children out of reading LGBTQ books in schools. So that's a pretty good win, I think. Joseph Dalton, good morning, Bill. Thanks for helping us to save babies. That's Pregnancy Resource Center.
And thank you, Joe, for everything you do. You're the difference you made in people's lives, the people who get to have a life and the children that get to have a life, a whole life, and the children they have and so forth. You never will even be able to quantify the impact you've had on people.
And Dalton, you need to come to Monday at 5:00 with your lovely bride, Jane. And I want you to come. It's a fundraiser for, I've never asked him for any funds. He's certainly asked for me. But it's a fundraiser to get Mr. Hardwick here into the Senate of Missouri.
Yeah, everybody's welcome. And we love to
Yeah.
hang out with anybody. So
Yeah.
we'd love to have Joe and Jade. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Anybody. You want to hang out with your buddy next week?
Yeah, we're gonna hang out with anybody.
Mayhew?
I love Don's a good guy.
Okay.
I invited Don.
You guys want to do the show?
Yeah, for sure, dude. Next week,
Yeah,
Friday,
next Friday the 4th.
the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Okay, does me and Don host it?
Yeah.
And JP will help us with
JP will be
technicality.
here. He's agreed to.
And we'll do it for 3 hours.
Yeah. You
Okay.
want guests?
What if we get our own guests?
Get your own guest.
So
we'll get our own
It's
guests.
wide open.
The
for
only
you.
issue I got to raise about
I love
next Friday
Yeah.
is there is a freedom parade here in Raleigh. I think that starts at 10. So if we go from 10 to 11 included, that last hour might be tough with the parade traffic. We may have to take that into account. Make sure
What do you mean
that
parade traffic?
they're going to be like a parade coming through on Pine Street.
So
It might.
we're in here. Isolated.
I'm concerned it'll still come over the microphone and could make the show hard to
Okay,
hear.
so
but
what?
I'm
You're
just
pretend
letting you know.
pretend like it's
The noise. He's talking about.
I
the
know
noise.
what he's talking about. Yes,
Oh.
thank you. Pretend like it was Trump giving a rally. Okay. In fact, open the windows up so you can hear it.
Yeah, I'll talk to Don. We could do it. We could. Either one of us by ourselves could talk for 3 hours.
Well, yeah, we'll open the windows. We'll get an audience down there in the street.
The only issue with me and Don hosting is it's not a 6-hour show.
Yeah,
But
you know, he was sending me stuff. So what are you doing on January 4th? If you give me my phone, I could probably read it. It's really funny. He was hinting at this.
Did
you know that?
That we're good talkers, or that he needs to host the show?
No, I don't know.
He's been pushing it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I got to find this, but in the meanwhile, let me ask you a question.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about.
I want
whatever.
your reaction to Trump's attack and destruction of Iran's nukes, including the criticisms he's getting from the Democrats, and including the false reports about them not doing the damage they say there is.
Okay. So first I'll address the legality of it. Article 2 of the Constitution says the president is the commander in chief. Even if you are trying to use the War Powers Act, the War Powers Act does not prevent the president from initiating attacks on America's adversaries any more than when Barack Obama bombed Khalid Sheikh Mohammed or any attacks, right? There was no declaration of war for the invasion of Iraq, for Vietnam, for Korea, for the Gulf War, for Bosnia, for Grenada, for Panama. Take your pick, right? That's a power in Article 2. We don't know exactly why the president thought it was necessary to strike those nuclear facilities right now, because that intelligence has not been made public to the public. But we do know that every president has said since the Ayatollah took over control of Iran in 1979, that Iran having nuclear weapons capability is an existential threat that has to be stopped. And we know that at some point they would try to use those nuclear weapons on the nation of Israel and vicariously try to attack the United States. And so we can't operate out of Iran out of fear that we're afraid that if we do what our stated policy is, protect ourselves and protect Israel, that they'll retaliate with us through sleeper cells, through closing the Straits of Hormuz, through affecting the oil prices, those kind of things. We have to act in America's best interest. And I think the way that President Trump did it was exactly right. Iran's not going to have nuclear weapons. Destroy those facilities. And now, if Iran wants to have peace, which it seems like they do, then we're going to offer them peace. Mm-hmm. And if they want to threaten the United States or Israel, then we're not going to operate out of fear and back down from that. I think it's a policy that we should have. But there's no rational world leader that thinks Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, whose stated goal is to wipe Israel off the face of the map, and America, if they could, should have nuclear weapons. That's a non-starter in the global world right now.
Yeah, and now Trump is they're trying to impeach Trump for this.
Yeah, that's completely ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous that he.
How stupid are they?
So he is the president of the United States. The reason why we created the reason why that office exists is so there. You imagine George Washington. Yeah. It's because there's an invasion, there's an attack, there's something that's going to harm America, and there could be a person who could command the military to protect the country. That's why we have a president. Yeah. Congress does declare war, but the War Powers Act, which is a statute, does not prevent the president. It's 60 days worth of activity, right, without authorization from Congress, either appropriation or supply. And like even the Marine Expeditionary Force, they're supplied for 60 days, which would mean after that you'd want a supplemental authorization from Congress, or you want resourcing from Congress. But the president, the reason why you have an executive is so he could respond to emergencies quickly. And how interesting, 60 days is how long President Trump gave to Iran to come up with a solution. Yeah, he followed the law.
Yeah.
And he did what every president, including President Obama, said they would do.
Yeah, and they didn't do
given
it,
that circumstance. Why is the media critical of Trump?
Yeah.
Is because Trump does what other politicians promise to do but don't do.
Yeah.
Close the border, defend Israel, defend America, appoint conservative judges, let loose our economy and engineer our economy. He actually does it. Renegotiate our trade deals. He does what other politicians have given lip service to and actually did it. Now, does that mean I think we should take war lightly? We should not. We should not take loss of life lightly. But there is a direct threat. When I was in Iraq, Iran killed a lot of American soldiers. Yeah. A lot of personal friends of mine were killed by operatives that were working for Iran and by munitions that were provided by Iran. I saw people killed by the Iranians, basically, by their munitions and their, the people who were working for them. And they, there was no accounting for that, right? Iran just was able to kill Americans. How many Israelis have been, as civilians included, have been killed by weapons and suicide bombers and attacks that have been initiated and planned by Iran?
Yeah.
What's Iran's global strategic goal? Well, America's goal is peace. Mm-hmm. I believe Israel's goal is peace. Yeah. Iran's goal is annihilation.
Right.
And so as long as the Ayatollah, when they took those American hostages,
it's a specific annihilation.
Yes. First of all, of Israel.
Of Israel. Every Jew from the river to the sea.
But so it's America because America stands in the way of Israel's annihilation.
Right.
So when the Iran first took the American hostages in 1979, when the Ayatollah repelled the Shah out of Iran and took those hostages, it was clear, and they instigated hijacking of aircraft, right, attacks. Mm-hmm. They're a terror state, and that doesn't mean I don't think that we should respect the life. Just like I said, all life of the Iranian people, but you don't negotiate by giving them a nuclear weapon, and you don't make the world safer, and you don't protect life, just like we're talking about.
Which is what the Biden administration and Obama before him did.
That's right.
Made it possible to do that.
I think that there's evil in the world. You don't just roll over and say, "Please don't hurt me." That's not the way you deal with it.
Right.
You have to be strong and fight.
Yes.
And that's the only way to deal with something like that.
And you got to fight until you win. And if it's that important, you can't let Iranians go back to what they were doing. You have to do something about that, and you have to do something about what's going to happen in Lebanon, what's going to happen
Hezbollah
in
Hamas,
in Hamas,
Gaza, Yes.
and all the other nations have to understand. You attack Israel, you're going to die.
Israel has a right to defend themselves.
Yeah,
they're a nation just like we are. We were attacked on 9/11, and look what America did in response to that. We were attacked in Pearl Harbor. Look what America did in response.
Sure.
Israel has had the equivalent of Pearl Harbor and 9/11 on a reoccurring basis since they became a nation in 1948. Right. So do they not have a right to protect themselves as a sovereign nation? I say they do. Should America not help our ally? I say we should. Should Iran have nuclear weapons? They're going to use them. They're going to nuke a city if they were. Everyone knows that. And besides that, even
a lot of people said they don't really have them. They said they don't have those.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
So who knows if they have them or not? President Trump knows if they're about to have them or not.
Exactly.
The CNN and Washington Post do not know whether or not they're about to have them or not. President Trump does.
Oh, okay. Okay, from Christopher Rosani, we call him the Godfather here. Mr. Bill Hardwick, there is nothing greater than a man who is willing to lay his life on the line for others and protects all life of other people. God bless and thank you, Representative Mr. Bill Hardwick. And don't forget to eat your pasta, Bill. Hey, how about you showing up on Monday, Rosani, Godfather, and actually meet Bill in person, okay, at the Oak Meadow Country Club at 5:00. I'll try to see if I can get you a plate of pasta. I don't think it's going to happen. Wait, they have pizza there. I get you pizza.
My daughter Laura loves crispy chicken sandwiches from McDonald's. It's her go-to.
All right.
So I told her there'd be a bunch there, and she was super excited. She was like, "Yes!" And I was like, "Okay, cool."
All right, great.
And I like McDonald's cookies. It's like my weakness.
I know.
Yeah, I get like packs of them.
Yeah.
Because my kids get in her brain, and I know I come off as like a super healthy guy. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I come off as like Mr. Athletic, and like and
we all have our weaknesses.
Yeah, it's right. But like when I'm really concentrating, I'm like, what would really help fuel my brain is like 6 McDonald's chocolate chip cookies. So, yeah.
All right. Well, this is good. How you? I guess. Are you going to call Mayhew?
Yes.
And get his butt here on. And what are you going to call the show?
We're going to call the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could as soon as we get together, start brainstorming.
Yeah.
We'll come up with something. We'll get some cool people to come on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Right. So how can?
But you got to mention my name here once in a while because people got to say, "What am I on the wrong channel here?"
We're like, what's his name? He hosts the show. Yeah. We eat at his restaurants. What's his name?
We're doing the Dave Weinbaum show as Bill and Don, or Don and Bill, however you want to structure that. And we're both running against each other.
We could go Don and Bill.
Senate.
We can go Don and Bill because I'm obviously the more humble of the two. So we could say Don and Bill, no problem. That's a reoccurring joke too. Sorry.
I'm trying to think about that.
There was a
no. You know what? He is. I like Don a lot, as you do. But he talks. And he's funny, very funny. But I can see where he could filibuster the hell out of you.
Don is very intelligent and he's super funny. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
That's a reoccurring joke in the legislature because one time we were at Eris Pizza and this lady came over, we didn't know. And she was like, "Are you guys representatives?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I have a word from the Lord from you." And then she like almost like laid hands on each of us and said something. And she got to me and she said, "Bill, don't forget to stay humble." And I was like, "Okay." And then I didn't know what it meant. So we made a joke out of it. People go, "And Bill's the most humble guy here." And I go, "I would never say that about myself." So we just like made like a reoccurring joke, but it was kind of funny.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And you know what? This is so refreshing to see political people talk like this because there ain't many of them. And you know that, and I know that, because they're always looking for an edge somewhere. Instead of working on what's in the best interest of people, they're always looking for the edge. All right, well, I guess we're coming to it. How did this go so fast? I don't understand this. All right, so other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find and contribute?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Reach out to me there. And, we should have a new website up and running in a few weeks, and people can find me there too. Thanks for having me on the show, Dave.
All right. And what did the What did the cow say to the churner?
What?
You better stop.
Any minute now, I'm still.
All right. I ended on a chirp.
That's
okay. All right. Well, anyways, I got replacements for next week. I'm going to Las Vegas. Where are you going, honey? All right.
What?
What?
I'm excited about the 4th of July. Yeah.
All right. Well, we still got a minute. I mean, we're gonna. Honey, you have any place? Are we gonna go to St. Louis this weekend? This week? We got a lot of people we got to see.
I think we should talk about that.
We have obligations.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people that we haven't seen in a while. And maybe pull in a Cardinal game, although I haven't seen one in person. I kind of like the way they're playing. But anyways, I thought this was a pretty good show. I mean, we had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. You know how many people that are here on this show that have spoken to God or think they've spoken to God? It's incredible. You know, I probably have. This is it's almost like a combined Jewish church show. You know. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for listening. Everybody who helps promote the store, especially on X, and we'll be back with another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show next week.
Keep on